Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Got to go to work, dude. And that ain't no poodle bark, punk asses.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mine is Kev Nash today. The show brought to you by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty and, of course, Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. And who in the hell is this guy sitting across from me?
And the first voice you put on is that Steve
from Springboro. Absolutely.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got his hand in the snow or the dirt today.
Like he's not happy.
Yeah, this is like what, TV now?
Look,
you're like the Jeffersons, man. You're moving uptown.
Well, the second you left the station, I said, now we can finally get cameras.
Fumigated
now we can finally put faces on the show, because before, I guess
that's why I didn't like TV.
Yeah, and it didn't like you either. But I have a surprise for you. Speaking of TV, the one and only Jack Pohl is on live to kick off the show. How are you, Mr. Pohl?
Hey, that's Jack Pohl. The guy that are you getting your mail in Kansas City now instead of Dayton? The Jack Pohl Travel Agency.
Then just forward it to LA after that, baby. Just forward it to LA after that.
Oh, I can't argue with that.
Back together.
Do what?
You got the band back together. Listen to you two.
What your buyers get you to be the Three Stooges, no waiting.
So, by the way, a while back, just so you know, at the grocery store when you were driving around in the old man scooter.
Yeah, when I didn't know you took the picture.
I sent Jack the picture of you.
Yeah, I know. I got the text from he and Hitch. Hey, I was good in that thing. I didn't bump anybody, knock anything over.
But Jack, obviously in Kansas City, AFC Championship game on Sunday. How jacked are you, no pun intended, to be in Kansas? You're a big Bengals fan, so when you get to cross over work with pleasure, I'm sure it's one hell of a time.
Oh, boy, you couldn't be more right about that. The irony is the Bengals won their last playoff game. I started at Channel 2 that following season, okay, thinking, all right, they're coming off a playoff year. I'll be covering this team in the playoffs. It's going to be sweet. 31 years later and a million gray hairs, I finally get to cover the Bengals winning a playoff game, and then 2 in a row, and maybe they can knock off the big bad Patrick Mahomes Chiefs and get there. But, yeah, as a fan, this is it. This is I can honestly say I don't think I've ever been more excited. As I talk to you, I'm just looking straight ahead at Arrowhead Stadium with that big Chiefs, that big football-shaped Chiefs logo, and knowing that it's for a trip to the Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, I could not be more excited. 30 years of blind faith finally pays off.
Jack, you're out there. I don't think the Bengals have shown up yet, but what's the sense from Chiefs fans? Are they that overconfident, or are they somewhat worried about this one?
I don't know if I'd use the word worried, but certainly, I actually did a story that'll air tonight at 6 on Channel 2, shameless plug. But I went to a barber shop in downtown Kansas City yesterday. They got Mahomes pictures in the window and all this stuff. And I just sat around and shot the stuff with those guys. And the general consensus, they expect a good game. They all expect the Chiefs to win. But, these teams kind of mirror each other. Neither fan base has a lot of belief in their defense, although I think the Bengals defense has played slightly better throughout the playoffs. But yeah, I think Joe Burrow is just such a difference maker. It's a great quarterback, changes everything, and he is definitely it changed everything for Cincinnati. There's no doubt about that.
Real quick, I just realized, because we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, Schlemmer, you have changed. Hold on. You're a panderer now. You're wearing a Bengals hoodie. I mean, this is the
I did this just for you.
But you're also wearing the WDTN
Yeah,
hat.
I keep waiting on Paul to mention
You had
that.
no clue he was calling in, but he can't see you live, which that's why he agreed to do it, as long as he didn't have to look at you. But what's amazing is Jack used to call in and say, "Oh, this was the Dayton Bengals hater show."
Yeah.
But look at you, just pandering.
No, it was home of the most negative Bengals coverage.
Tomato.
Hey, the guy gets to travel, gets a haircut out of the. I saw that picture on Facebook, dude. I hope they harvested that wheat on top of your head. Holy cow!
Oh yeah, but
hey, for the late 50s, that's a healthy head of
Hey,
hair.
Cy Sperling was happy to see you with Hair Club for Men, man. That hair weave took pretty good.
So I talked to Hutch.
Sure did.
I talked to Hutch about a week or two ago when I saw
Who the
the
hell's
Wright
Hutch?
State game. Oh, I'm sorry, Hitch.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to sorry, we're rusty. But he had brought up that you were pretty fired up with me around the draft when we had the draft show with Byers, and that you were pretty fired up. Because,
Yeah.
He said, you were very close to calling in just to kind of set me straight. I've been eating crow for like the last month. I mean, if the Bengals run can slow down a little bit so I can stop eating crow, I mean, whether sauteing it, salt, pepper, holy moly.
Yeah, I wanted to call in after he went off for the Chiefs earlier this month, actually a few times this year, with Penny for your thoughts. How'd the Lions do with that great pick? I mean, how many games they win? How'd he change their franchise? The irony of it all is that if Burrow doesn't get hurt last year, there's every reason to believe they might win one or two other games. Okay, I mean that's a leap, but I think it's fair to say, seeing how Burrow is such a good quarterback, they do that. They never get Jamar Chase, and maybe they're 8-9 this year, 9-8 or something like that. So it really made a difference, and I think the Bengals followed the blueprint of the Kansas City Chiefs when a few years ago they Clyde, what the heck's his name? The guy with the three names, Allaire. When they drafted
Clyde
him,
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What the heck? Don't you guys need to-" No, man, you can't. In today's NFL, you cannot have enough offensive weapons. And the Bills were number one in every category and got housed. They couldn't stop them because just the way the NFL rules are, if you've got a good quarterback and the right weapons, I don't think there's, the days of defense winning championships might be on the way out, or at least not as common. I still think your best path is a high-powered offense. So, but yeah, I have been enjoying, and I was behind the Bengals pick from day one. I loved it. I'm like, you've got a premier quarterback. You get him premier weapons early, so you don't have to buy him a free agency. You get a 2 or 3 year window before you got to bankrupt the team for Burrow's contract. And whatever you want to say about the Bengals past, there's absolutely no evidence of that through the Zach Taylor era. They've drafted smartly. The free agents that came in, Readers made a huge difference. Obviously, Hendrickson's made a huge difference. Eli Apple resurrected his career in Cincinnati, and that guy was left for dead at one point.
Yeah, the best pick they might have made was getting McPherson the kicker, and everybody laughed at that pick.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, after the third round, I'm like, yeah, they know more than I do.
That kid's making a lot of money for a lot of college kickers right now.
He certainly is. You're right, Schlem. So, Andy says he's just a cool kid. I mean, he's just, this whole team is, those 5 years with Andy Dalton, they went to the playoffs. The first 5 years, Andy Dalton in the league, which is pretty dang good. And I can just distinctly remember that there was still a lot of stink on the team. There was still a lot of, how are they going to blow it? How are they going to lose it? This year's team, it is so different. You feel like, how are they going to win it? When Tennessee scored those 10 points in whatever it was, 4 minutes last week, I mean, all the guys on the sidelines, my gut feeling, you can't fake it. You can't fake it. And I think the Bengals feel the same way. It's a big deal. We'll still win. There was no way Ryan Tannehill was beating Joe Burrow. I mean, I refuse to believe it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen Sunday. Obviously, the Chiefs are pretty good, and it's here at Arrowhead. But this franchise is, at least right now, is at least today and at least through this season. I don't care if they get beat 50-0 on Sunday to a team that's been to the AFC Championship 4 years in a row. I can on their field, but this was as good a season really since the 80-89 season. It's just that good.
Well, Jack, I mean, unless Evan McPherson kicks 10 field goals, I mean, your quarterback, you got him, Jamar Chase. You can't throw a simple touchdown? What's going on there? I mean, come on, Joe Burrow, you got to throw touchdowns. What's the point of having Jamar Chase if you're not going to throw touchdowns?
Well, Chase had over 100 yards and 9 catches. He did his part, just couldn't get in the end zone. You're right, though. I mean, the Bengals against in their playoff games have not been a good red zone team at all by any measure. I mean, unless you like field goals. So that is something that, you're right. I don't even know if 10 field goals would do it. That's only, 30 points?
See, that's going to be a question for me. You get in the red zone, 4th down and 2 from the 10. So you're going to try field goals? Or you're going to go for the touchdown? Does Opie change his game plan?
I don't. Statistically, Kansas City's defense is not as good as Tennessee's. So that would play into it as well. Matchups would be, I don't know if Matthew's playing or not, or
yeah, he's playing,
and that would probably have. He is playing. Okay, finally got that protocol, but this is it. You are playing with house money. You have nothing to lose. You have a quarterback who just played his first full year in the NFL. He's basically rookie plus a half. You've got this rookie of the year, a wide receiver, and they haven't had problems scoring touchdowns. I mean, I'm not too worried. In the playoffs, you do what you got to do, and you're on the road. So I understand why they were kicking, and I think the Bengals were very conservative against the Raiders in the second half, where I think they might have done a little better. But for the most part, this isn't a team that's had a hard time scoring points. It is the playoffs, and they're winning 2 games, so they're scoring enough touchdowns. But I don't think there's any question that the Bengals. I don't know that Burrow necessarily has to throw touchdowns, but they're going to need to score touchdowns, whether that be 1-yard runs by Mixon or 50-yard bombs to Jamar Chase. But I'd be shocked if Burrow didn't throw a touchdown past Sunday and the Bengals won, but who knows?
Well, that was a very professional response to my very bad attempt at trolling. Look, and this goes back to what you said earlier. Look, yes, he hasn't thrown a touchdown in 6 quarters, and yet here they are still a game away from a Super Bowl. That was my point when I opened the show on Monday. I said, look, I know you guys are thinking I'm taking a shot at this team, but Joe Burrow hasn't thrown a touchdown for 6 straight quarters, and yet they're finding ways to win. The old Bengals team, those cursed teams, they could have great performances and still find ways to lose, like against the Steelers in their last playoff appearance, but this time they're not even playing their best football right now, and yet they're still a game away from a Super Bowl. But I think that the secondary for Kansas City opens up the door for them to be able to capitalize like they did last time in Cincinnati. Obviously, the atmosphere in Kansas City is going to matter. Have you been to a game in Kansas City before, Jack? What do you expect that atmosphere to be like? That's going to be crazy.
Well, it's going to be crazy. I mean, everything I've heard, it's the closest to a college atmosphere. It's very college-like. Well, heck, even the Bengal players have said that this week, that have played here before. And so I expect it to be – I didn't think Tennessee – I thought that was a pretty mellow crowd. I wasn't very intimidated at all. I've been to a lot of road games before, and I would say that was the most mellow of them all. I mean, they were into it, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't not the least bit intense, not like Green Bay, not like Seattle, not like even Chicago, not like Cleveland, not like Pittsburgh, not close. Now, those are divisional rivals, but even so, nothing like that. This Sunday, I think is going to be, you better shake off those jitters quick.
The one play back in Tennessee that people forget about, and it goes back to your point of the Bengals are finding ways to win. They get called for a penalty. Tennessee goes for 2 instead of the extra point, and some guy named Clay Johnson, nobody's heard of, tackles Henry short.
Yeah.
That ends up winning the game indirectly.
Yeah, they just signed the guy. I mean, they just signed him. Probably 80% of the team doesn't know his name. So it's just I just think they have the right leaders. The Von Bells, obviously Joe Burrow. They've got really good. Hendrickson's a great leader. I think C.J. Uzama owns that locker room. They have the right kind of leaders, and I think Zach Taylor pushes the buttons he wants, but I just think he's a play caller, a game planner, and lets his assistants do what they want. But the leadership and the drive and the intangibles, I think that is all from within. From player to player, to take nothing away from Zach Taylor, but in fact, I think it's a compliment where I think he just gets the heck out of the way and says, it's obvious, these guys want to play for each other and they lead by themselves. And I think I think that's been the key. I think that's why they just don't get routed. They were down 14-0 to the Chiefs at home. A young and experienced team generally says, oh, gosh, this is Patrick Mahomes. We're screwed. We're going to get blown out, and they never come back. And they came back from 2 14-point deficits in that game to win it. That's pretty impressive.
Now, you've never been to Kansas City, as you said, so when you try to go out to some highfalutin barbecue place tonight, let me give you a suggestion. Tell them your name is Mike Hartsock.
I mean, they'll give me free food because I'm Mike Hartsock. I'll just go in there and say, it's me. I sell windows now, but give me the free barbecue.
You want it. There you go.
Jack Paul, WDTN Channel 2, good enough to call in on the return of Mark Schlemmer today. But, Jack, thank you so much. Enjoy Kansas City.
All right, you guys, thanks so much. And hopefully I'll be talking to you from the Super Bowl in a few weeks.
Don't show off. But, yes, enjoy it. Good luck. Take care.
All right, man. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right, Jack Paul.
The one and only.
Yes, I texted him earlier today when we knew you were coming on for sure. So that's he called in. I was supposed to call him. He couldn't wait to call in.
What else is there to do out there?
So look and see all these guys, you leave for a while and now everyone's trying to tell on me. How about this? So a couple nice messages coming in.
So they know I don't have my computer with me. So
I'll be reading everything.
Feel free.
So Gary Toole says the mark, the myth, the legend.
That's a triple tier, like run, stumble, and fall.
I mean, there was a lot to cover in that one. Aaron Powell says, way to represent Schlemmer. Who day? I have a huge I didn't even realize you were wearing that.
I got to get this back on the mannequin soon. So
you did get called out, though. I got to find this one before I get to the rest of the people, reaching out to you. How about this? Will on Facebook says, now Mark, and I do remember this because Paulie got, that I don't know if you remember him or not. It's kind of hard to forget, but he called you and him got into it about the Bengals and the fandom of the Bengals. But Will says, now Mark, I remember when you gave up on the Bengals.
It was a Monday night, Tuesday. It was a Tuesday show. I said Mike Brown. Rant. Yep, I remember.
So now you're a fan again.
Only because
that's
of
what's
you.
Called
I have to come in and straighten you out.
That's what a lot of these people are saying.
Oh, call me a flip-flop? Oh, that's cold, man.
Kev Nash says, Schlem, keep Kinner in check today. Hashtag Kinner was wrong. I'm usually always wrong.
Well, there's a shocking statement.
We're never that way. You never kept me in check. It was always the other way around.
Always under control.
Holy moly. All right, we'll continue at this. Let me see what else. Oh, yes. Shout out to Donna. Donna says, looking good, dear friend. I know she ain't talking about me. She has to be talking about you.
She must be on a different channel.
Say that's the H. She has that. Once that HD gets fixed.
Okay.
Inner show with Kev Nash. Mine is Kev Nash today. He'll be back next week. I was chatting with Schlemmer earlier this week, and we decided to, wipe the dust off and get you in.
Get the rust off.
No, rust off, dust off.
Yeah, I've only had 2 calls from the hospital. We're doing good so far.
Holy moly. But yes, you got called out for that. Mark Smith says touchdowns will not be a problem on Sunday. He says who day?
I would agree. I still think it's like 38-33, 38-35, somewhere in that area.
So Dean McDonald says, so great to see you, Schlemmer. He misses your honesty. You were honest? When were you honest?
As far as he knows.
I was going to say, it's the truth is whatever you believe.
Lots of who days coming in.
Now, let's be honest. When we did this show 2 years ago, when you obviously retired and left, I didn't think that we were anywhere close to talking about a Bengals team being a game away from a Super Bowl. And somehow, some way, here we are, the Cincinnati Bengals.
How do you put Opie Taylor and Super Bowl in the same sentence? Do you ever think you're going to get that one?
No. So you want to know one of my predictions at the beginning of this offseason was that the Bengals would not win a lot of games this year, that they would get uncomfortable. And then I said Sean Payton he would step away from the Saints at the end of the year because he'll learn quickly without Drew Brees. It's not a whole lot of fun coaching. So I said the Bengals would not win a lot of games this year. There'd be a lot of angst and uncomfortable, fans when it comes to Zach Taylor. I thought that they would push him out. And I said, if Joe Burrow's the real deal and they have Jamar Chase, I said, Sean Payton, that makes all the sense in the world. Sean Payton wants to come in and have his quarterback and imagine that offense he had with the Saints. He can have that and then some in Cincinnati. But then Zach Taylor had to go and screw it all up and get him to an AFC Championship game.
Over-under wins was like 5.5 or 6. And I remember saying, that's ridiculous. That's too low. Then this team has shown they're good enough to win it. And then they blow games like the Jets and the Bears and games they should win. But fortunately, they're playing out at the right time.
518-1410, by the way. That's the
number
to call in. We're going to open up. The phone lines are blocked for this particular second. When we head to our little pause here in the action, we'll open up the lines, get you in order, and start taking your calls as far as that's concerned. But Matt Sturgeon, Schlem says, Schlemmer, the voice of reason. Oh, how mighty.
Medication's a great thing.
Holy moly.
Before we go to break, I do want to say thank you to everybody that's written on my page or asked how I've done doing health-wise, and I do appreciate it. It's sometimes hard to answer everybody because some days I just don't have the juice to do it. But I do appreciate everybody's asking, and Justin asked me to come in today, so it's good to get out of the house.
Yeah, I got tired of taking a beating. I figured I'd bring you in here, but, I'd let people focus on you for a bit and forget about me. But yeah,
you can have one of these.
No, that's quite okay. Everyone keeps telling me I need to get on the
Hayfield jersey of yours. I'll fix it for you.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Earlier in the year, as I'm just kind of catching up on some of the stats, I see that there's a particular name that's sitting at the top of the interception stat line.
Got to throw him to get him picked.
And it wasn't Baker Mayfield at the top. It was Joey B, your guy. So I was like, how come Hayfield, you gave him
hold on now.
You gave him the interception nickname before he threw one damn interception.
Chase handed one of them to San Diego. Last week, P. Ryan, he dropped one into the guy's hands. So they're not all on Burrow.
Oh, my gosh. Now, here's the other thing. I've never heard. Where was this reasoning? You know how many times receivers for the Browns dropped passes? Baker Mayfield would throw perfect passes and receivers would drop.
Wait a minute. When's the last time he threw a perfect pass?
Quiet. Hold on. He would throw an interception off their hands. Defensive back would catch it. Oh, no, that's an interception.
Well, yeah, Kareem Jabbar couldn't touch those.
Oh, well, the earth tilted just a tad, a few degrees, and, you would make excuses. You're just like the Bengals. You are a Bengals fan. I thought it was a joke, but you really are a Bengals fan. You buy these excuses, huh?
I started with number 14, Ken Andrews. Actually, I started with the first game ever. You asked me an interesting question coming in. We got to get to that one because I'm still working on the answer to that one.
And then, by the way, so Matt Sturgeon coming to my defense a little bit. He's saying that in fairness, Kinner has been nothing but fair and honest regarding Burrow. Because I haven't.
Is that the cousin of yours I never met?
No, Matt and I.
Somebody's defended you?
Matt and I butted heads a while back. Matt sent a message to our Facebook page one time telling our bosses they needed to get rid of me. So I called Matt out, and now Matt and I have been friends ever since. You were
the only guy on Sports Talk I've ever seen that can compliment UD basketball, Ohio State football, Bengals football, and still get dumped on. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing phenomenon.
So, for instance, earlier in the week, I brought it up to Jack Pohl when he was on with us. I had said that, and I started out the week, I was pointing out the fact that, man, Joe Burrow has gone 6 straight quarters without throwing a touchdown, and yet somehow, some way, they're still a game away from a Super Bowl. And everyone's like, oh, there you go again. You still had to find a way to get a dig in. I'm like, no, I'm actually highlighting the fact that this team is finding ways to win despite not playing their best football. If you would tell me, Schlemmer, I promise you, the Chiefs would never win a playoff game if Patrick Mahomes had 0 touchdown passes. The Chiefs wouldn't win 2 games.
Not many teams would at all.
Josh Allen, look how many touchdown passes he had to throw just to have a chance to lose in overtime against the Chiefs. So that was my whole point.
Remember when the Chiefs went through their little spell of losing games? Yep. Was it 2 or 3 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody talks about that now.
Nope. And not one of those losses during that losing streak, but one of their losses on the season just so happened to be against this very Bengals offense that has struggled. But to be fair, the Raiders defense is very good. The Titans defense is very good. The Chiefs are sporadically good from time to time. Like they were horrible to start the season. statistically improved, but the reason they statistically improved is because they weren't playing as bad as they historically were the first 6 weeks. So it's not like they're playing great defense, but when you show the drastic increase percentage-wise of their numbers improving, it's like, yeah, when you compare to the bottom of the pile stats compared to where they are now, they look like they've improved greatly. But there's a reason that Josh Allen diced them up. There's a reason that Joe Burrow back in 17 diced them up, or 16, whatever it was. I think that Joe Burrow is going to have. I think you're going to see a lot of touchdowns. This is going to be a shootout. I think it could be a repeat of what we saw against Buffalo.
Let Chris Evans catch the ball. Who's going to cover that guy when you got the other three receivers in Uzama? What, are they going to cover him with a linebacker? Good luck with that one. It's funny because I was thinking of Ken Anderson again when we were on the way up here. The year they went to the Super Bowl with him, and he was the MVP. First game of the year was at home against Seattle. They booed him off the field for throwing like 4 interceptions. Turk Schonert came in and rescued him from like 21-0 down. I was actually at that game. And look at things turn around. The Bengals lose bad games. The Chiefs have lost bad games. Nobody's talking about it now.
All right, so that was the question. When you look at this roster, you look at the 2 Super Bowl appearances, obviously different quarterbacks. A lot of the similar players overlapped a little bit from, but not many.
Not many,
but, obviously. But curious, those 2 Super Bowl appearing teams that both lost to the Niners. I'm just curious people's thoughts on comparing those rosters to this. Someone in the chat section last week had asked, is this Bengals team better than any of the previous teams that made it to the Super Bowl? And I laughed at that at first. And then I'm like, but you start breaking down these rosters, and Joe Burrow, I know, is only in year 2, but as talented, if not more than a former MVP quarterback Ken Anderson, obviously, and Boomer. So it starts at quarterback, and if your quarterback's already more talented, even at this young of age, you're already ahead of the pile a little bit. And then you look at the weapons that they have. I mean, you look at Jamar Chase. I don't care that he's only a rookie. He's a top 5 receiver in football right now, and it's not top 5 rookie. He's top 5 wide receiver in general. I mean, you have those dynamic playmakers. Joe Mixon, I think he's one of the more underrated running backs in the league that no one talks about. Everyone talks about the Derrick Henrys. They talk about the Nick Chubbs. They talk about, obviously the kid from Indianapolis. Taylor. Mixon's 3rd in rushing this season, and nobody talks about him. And that's
he's running behind Silly Putty.
So, and they're doing all of this, by the way, with one of the worst offensive lines in football.
The biggest, and I said just in the car, the biggest difference in those 3 teams, the offensive line. Ken Anderson's offensive line and Boomer's offensive line, head and shoulders better. When you have Munoz, Montoya, that alone is a pretty good O-line, and Kenny got to play behind them. If they had those lines on this team, they would be awfully hard to beat.
All right, so here's the deal. We're going to open up the phone lines. 518-1410, 518-1410. Phone lines are officially open. We're going to get everyone on hold during this little pause in the action, and we'll hit the ground running with your phone calls. You want to call in and talk to
God, you changed your phone number when I left, too.
They
won't even let me call anymore.
I figure it's a little easier to understand. What was it before?
294 wing.
Wow, that was really dumb. That wasn't even close. We'll be back. Jesus, what is wrong with you?
What was it?
Not even, if you don't know, don't
guess. It was wing. I remember the last part.
It's bad enough that people already have to remember this new number. Now you're throwing out random.
Hey, I'm old. I don't remember what yesterday was.
Holy moly. Schlemmer needs to recalibrate. We'll be back.
I gotta change my diaper. Hurry up.
God, why are you the way you are?
Kenner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Dayton Fire Department is hiring and accepting applications beginning January 4th, running through February 20th. If you have a determined attitude and are looking for an exciting job with great pay, superior training, with college credits available after training, excellent benefits, and a rewarding career, then the Dayton Fire Department needs you. Visit joindaytonfire.com for more information today. Minorities especially encouraged to apply. The DFD is an equal opportunity employer. The Dayton Fire Department. Come live the dream.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? With nights getting longer, it might be time to refresh your headlights. You'll see better and drive safer. Why not try Sylvania Silver Star Ultra bulbs? They have the furthest down road light, and right now you can get a $10 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy two. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or free next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
I haven't used this theme since back in the Kinner and
Where's
Schlemmer
Big Jim
show.
Lancaster? You got to be strutting through the door now.
How is Big Jim Lancaster?
Last time I talked to Mr. Belmer about it, I guess he's all right. Haven't talked to him in a while. That's our former pro wrestling buddy from up north.
Yeah,
you
wrestled
can-
Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. He's
The
wrestled them all.
stories he was telling about not being able to touch Hogan's hair, and pretty good.
No, absolutely. So we welcome you back. It's the Kinner and Schlemmer show for the day. Kev will be back next week, but talked to Schlemmer earlier in the week. I was like, we got to we got to wipe the dust off and get you back in here.
Hey, they can see it now. That I've
There's a lot of work wheeling
fixed
you
it.
up the hill and carrying you
Wait
up
till
the
going back
stairs.
down.
I'm not carrying you back down, so you're just staying
Oh, you
up
don't have to
here.
worry. I'll just slide down when I fall.
I don't know. You know what I made a mistake of? My bosses won't like hearing this, but that's fine. They don't like anything that comes out of my mouth anyways. The other day, it was snowing out. Get out of my car, took about 3-4 steps, and we have the light pole there. And I wiped out. I mean, my foot just slid, and I didn't go all the way down because I'm a dumbass, and I held on to the light. And I'm like, what are you doing? I could have fallen and just taken every dime that could have come my way. What is wrong with me? Who the hell falls and tries to catch themselves? You need to go fall everywhere, especially out in this weather.
I'd been a witness. That was whiplash.
I would go I would go out and just find a spot to fall. I'd be that guy. 'Tis the season, right? But I was so angry at myself that I actually caught myself instead of just letting me fall and see what kind of injuries I could have absorbed along the way. But I didn't. I was a fool. I caught myself and
You
I
need
walked
one
the
of
rest of
these,
the way in.
man. You need a fall wrist bracelet.
And you have holy moly.
The things you get when you're in a hospital.
But I like, when we go places together, I get better parking.
Well,
There's the perk.
absolutely.
Half the time I invite you places is just because it's cold out and I
You
can get
to
better
ride around
parking.
in a little scooter.
Holy moly. But we welcome everyone back again. Justin Kinner, Mark Schlemmer with you here. The phone line's 518-1410. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment. But I do want to, a question was sent to us earlier in the week, and I thought this was perfect with you coming in. But you look at the last two Super Bowl era teams for the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, one led by Boomer Esiason, obviously, and the other one led by Ken Anderson. Obviously, they didn't result in an actual Super Bowl title, but Super Bowl appearance. And with the Bengals potentially being a game away from getting back there, you look at this year's team. This is a 10-win team. This is a team that won the division, and I don't care if I ruffle feathers. Schlemmer, let me ask you just straight up. If the Ravens and Browns are healthy, are the Bengals division champs this year? I'm not saying they wouldn't make the playoffs. Are they division champs? I'm not saying that the Browns and Ravens guaranteed finish above them.
I think they'd have been in the mix because they do have a lot of talent. Now, anytime teams got injuries, it's the same if Burrow goes out. The Bengals are nowhere in sight. They have enough talent. It would have made for one heck of a good race. But yeah, I think they could have been. Unfortunately, you'll never know. This team has one glaring weakness, and everybody knows it. It's the offensive line. Now, that said, all 5 of them stunk last week. It wasn't just Isaiah Prince of Holding, a DG. I learned what number he was and how to spell his name because he was chasing his blocker or his pass rusher all day. If they can improve the line, but then again, you can go, okay, wait a minute. Mixon, as you said, was 3rd in the league in rushing. Somebody had to block. Burrow's had a pretty good year. Chase has had a good year. Somebody had to block. It's just not consistent enough. I think they would have been in the mix. Would they have won it? We can go back to the Packers, Bears, Jets. There's 3 more wins.
Yes.
So that's 13-14 maybe.
Well, and there was a certain point where they started the season out 5-2. And then they had the big one coming up with the Browns. They laid that stinker against the Jets. And I was like, that's brutal. And then, of course, you have, you lose to the Browns. You don't just lose to the Browns. My Browns just whooped some ass, man. They
Cincinnati.
They took you in Cincinnati on top of that. They took you guys to town. I'm just saying. But no, in all seriousness, look, this Bengals team, you look at them.
What time is Browns tea time tomorrow, Sunday?
Yes, I know. When Ken Anderson was on last week, I couldn't wait to have him on.
Browns can win both games every year as long as they don't go anywhere.
I get that all the time from Bengals fans. Those guys are never going to come on your show. I talked to Anthony Munoz just last week,
I told you, you're the one guy that gets dumped on more than a cow field.
Ken Anderson, chatted with him just last week on the show. In fact, he gets on me because I don't have him on more. And I said, do you really want to be on more? He said, absolutely. So we're working on getting him on more. In fact, he will be on for sure next week. Win or lose this Sunday, we have Ken Anderson booked for next week. I'm all jacked about that. But the first words out of Ken Anderson's mouth, the second he, gets on, Ken Anderson, how are you? I bet you're excited, but where are the Browns playing this week? I'm like, oh, we're starting out like that, are we? That's how we're starting.
Yeah, I noticed on the page, a lot of people that don't listen heard that.
Yeah.
Loved it.
They never listen, but they can quote the show
Amazing
word for word.
Phenomenon you have.
But it works. But no, I'm looking. So anyways, I was asked about if you look at this year's talented Bengals team, a game away from a Super Bowl, what alters this team a little bit is the fact that they were not projected. They were projected to finish last or second to last in the division, battling it out with the Steelers for last place. They maybe a year away. They spent $200+ million on this defense, and they ignored the offensive line, which I was critical of, but they did. They felt very strongly about Jamar Chase. I've admitted I was dead. I wasn't just slightly wrong. I was completely wrong on that. But to be fair, I never said that he was going to be a bust or that he wouldn't be. I just kept saying, well, okay, you get a good Jamar Chase season this year. Well, if you only win 6 or 7 games and Joe Burrow gets injured again because he gets sacked 85 times, what was it worth getting the weapons first before you protect him first?
Preseason, everybody was down on Chase.
Yep. So at that time, but now, yes, obviously it's worth. I mean, you're talking about a game away from a Super Bowl. I would be stupid to continue to stand my ground and say I was right. I wasn't right because clearly the rewards have outweighed the risk when it came to this.
But I look at it this way, and Sewell may end up being the greatest lineman since Anthony Munoz, but that line is in much more need than one right tackle. For what Chase has done. And if, say, Boyd goes down or Higgins goes down or Chase goes down and he's not there, what do you got? Auden Tate? Taylor, their punt returner? So he's giving you that third weapon, and one guy wasn't going to improve. Hopkins is playing on one leg. The right guard's been a revolving door. I'm not sold on Jonah Williams, to be honest with you. He's still a work in progress. Spain's probably been their most consistent lineman. So Sewell would have been nice, but he wouldn't have put them at where they're at. No chance.
Well, that was the flip side to that argument was, where I admitted I was mainly wrong too, was I got caught up in the only way to fix your offensive line is with that number 5 overall pick last year. That's not true, because they could have got Jamar Chase. By the way, I still will never forget them taking a 5th round graded Jackson Carman and taking him as early as they did. Still can't get over that. I thought that was really silly, but you know what? You're not going to hit on every draft pick, but you got to start hitting on the one position that's going to keep you from losing. So, but the point was, just because you took Jamar Chase at 5 didn't mean that you shouldn't have made it a priority in the upcoming picks, and they didn't. That's what was frustrating. I do like that Joseph Asai kid that they got out of Texas. That stinks that, his very first play in the preseason, he sacked Tom Brady, and then of course he gets hurt and we don't see him the rest of the year. But imagine him with DJ Reader and some of those pass rushers. They're just going to naturally improve next year by getting him back before they even spend any of that $50 million cap space. But they could have addressed the offensive line in free agency. Joe Tooney, reports come out that he wanted to play for the Bengals, but they disrespected him with the super low ball offer. And he goes and, obviously we know where he ends up, and he's playing on the team that's going up against the Bengals.
Riley Reef was okay. If he's a stopgap, okay.
I saw a stat today. When he's on the field, the Bengals average giving up 3 sacks a game, and when he's off the field, they give up about 4.5 sacks per game. And I'm like, well, they all just need to get off the damn field and get a brand new bunch in.
This winning the game tomorrow or Sunday, it's going to make it a lot easier for free agents to look at the Bengals and go, wow, you got Burrow and Higgins and Boyd and Chase and on and on and on. To me, it makes it a little bit easier for an offensive lineman to go, you know what? I think I'd like to play in front of Burrow. This team's got a pretty nice future for a couple of years at least. So in that respect, win, lose, or draw Sunday, it should improve their free agent attraction. And to be honest with you, Opie and Duke Tobin both have done a pretty nice job going out and getting the free agents they got.
Yeah, and that's why this team, it's like this isn't even the most talented team Burrow's going to play on moving forward. That's the scary thing. I hope not. Like, that's the scary thing. But I think the window, you have about 2 to 3 years to improve this roster. Then you're going to have to start watering down the roster because you're going to have to pay this Joey B guy. I think he's what do we think, about 25 mil? 26? I'm joking, of course. He's going to get, as long as he continues on this trajectory, he's going to get top dollar.
Getting 40.
Hayfield ain't
Started
getting 40.
Fort Knox.
Hayfield ain't getting 40. He ain't gonna get 40.
How much has Burrow made CJ Uzomah a better tight end? Chase has made him a better tight end because now he's going single coverage most of the time. He never caught the ball. Now all of a sudden he's a pretty good weapon.
That's why T. Higgins was good last year. T. Higgins is even better this year. Yes,
I think
that
he's
full,
hurt. I think he's a little more hurt than what they're letting on.
like that full extra year of an offseason to get better, yes, but the fact that now last year everyone just targeted him. Now he's just roaming free because all the attention's on
and Boyd,
Jamar Chase. And then there's Tyler Boyd in the slot. And then Joe Mixon's versatile because, yes, you can hand the ball off to him, but you can also, short screen passes and get him involved in the open field that way. So with all of that being said, you look at this talented roster as it is right now. Someone the other day said, well, if you look at those last two Bengals teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, one team led by Ken Anderson, the other one by Boomer Esiason, is this team better than either of those teams? And I was like, that's a stupid question. There's no way they're better. And then I'm thinking, well, hold on, I'm letting the perception of who they were coming into the year cloud who they are right now. And who they are right now, they're an offense that's just as explosive as the Bills and just as explosive as the Kansas City Chiefs. I have to stop using what the perception of them heading into the season was and start looking at them for who they are now. And who they are now, they're one hell of an offensive football team. And I think that this offense, I think it's outside of the offensive line, I would take it over any of the last two Super Bowl appearing teams for the Bengals.
Because Isaac Curtis was getting old in the first Super Bowl. Collinsworth was a rookie. Then what was the second one? McGee and Eddie Brown. I don't want to say that's not close to the three now. The defense are somewhat similar because they weren't really looked at as a good defense. David Fulcher made the biggest difference of any of those defenses, just being, a strong safety. The Super Bowl years, their defense played well enough down the stretch to keep them in a lot of games. But offensively, this unit right now, except for the O-line, I'm thinking Mixon against Brooks and Ickey, Johnson and Alexander. That's close. But that's two back sets. Well, Stanley Wilson, for that matter, too. They're going one back only now.
I love Ickey, but I think Joe Mixon's the most talented of that whole group.
James Brooks, not even close.
And by the way, and this is why I miss about doing the show with you is because it's
I
hard
miss
for me.
eating the chicken and pizza.
I get mad at hosts when I never watched those teams for obvious reasons, wasn't born. So I love when hosts my age or whatever, they'll try to talk like, no, that team was definitely better back in the 70s. That when you weren't alive, how do you know for sure? So that's why I like to ask you these things about that because I look at Joe Mixon, but James Brooks
was awfully good. He good receiver, good runner, block well, and I like Mixon. To me, he's still a step slow. He's not that home run hitter, but you're right. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He'll get you to tough yards. But you get down on the goal line and you're 3rd and 1. Where's that big guy like Pete, Nicky, Keith Byers, for example? They don't have it. That's the one thing that Mixon, I think, falls short to me. He's had a couple good touchdown runs, but he's not Chubb, where he's breaking 70-yarders.
But see, that's why I think that the Bengals need to get another. I know they have two backs, but they need a legitimate second.
I want Chris
back.
Webber to touch the kid out of Michigan.
Evans, but it's like they have him, but this is why I love what Cleveland did with Kareem Hunt. I thought it was at first I was like, why are you getting Kareem? You have Nick Chubb, but that honestly it elevates Nick Chubb or Nick Chubb elevates him, and I think that Mixon, if you can get him another complimentary back, back
but
there.
Ryan is kind of the same guy.
Yeah,
Evans is that guy that can go the distance for you, and we're talking about before we came on. If he comes in against Kansas City, who's covering him? A linebacker? Good luck with that one. But maybe they got some surprises. Maybe the Bengals come out with that.
And then you look at the defense right now for the Bengals. Statistically, not a top defense, but I don't really care about where they're at statistically because honestly, they're not a game away from the Super Bowl. While Joe Mixon and McPherson and Jamar Chase get all the love and the attention and the parades and everything like that. It's this defense. It's they're forcing turnovers.
The front line's pretty strong.
Wilson, obviously, Reeder. I mean, you look at
Hubbard's played well.
I mean, all over the place. I love in the offseason the additions of Hilton. I wasn't a big fan for one. Awuzie, I watched him when he was with Dallas. wasn't good with Dallas. So when Bengals were bragging about getting him, when they bragged about getting him, I'm like, I've watched him on really bad Dallas Cowboy defenses. Enjoy it, have fun. He's played really well with Cincinnati. Mike Hilton's been fantastic. Obviously, you got Bates back there too. But they have weapons all over. Obviously, you can add depth and improve that defense again a little bit if you want to tinker with it in the offseason. But they're forcing turnovers. In fact, turnovers have won the game for them the last 2 weeks.
If Shelvin does what he's supposed to do, just stand there and clog the middle, that means Reeder can run a little bit freer. The two ends can run a little bit freer. I thought Shelvin played okay. And maybe it's just that he hadn't got to play much. But if they dress Tupou this week, that's a waste for me. 5 plays and out, no. If he can't go the full game, don't even activate him. Don't bother. And the kid that picked up Kerr, he played okay. The kid they picked up from the Raiders, Square. I'd go with healthy bodies instead of a guy you don't know what you're going to get. But the defense, you're right. Turnovers, they're finding ways to win.
So are any of those two, would you take this team over any of those previous Super Bowl appearing teams? Just
if you give me the other offensive lines.
But their numbers are better. And again, different era. I get it. But their numbers are way better even with this bad offensive line. And that's like what's scary about this offense is they could even get better. And I'll take their offensive package as a whole. Like I'll take Boyd, Chase, and T. Higgins, and Mixon, and Burrow. I know the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. I know they have Hill and Travis Kelce. But I think as a whole, the Bengals' offensive weapons as a whole are better collectively than just the trio of Kelce, Hill, and Patrick Mahomes. As crazy as that sounds.
Don't forget they got Pringle and Hardman, too.
I don't care if they have a can of Pringles.
Ken Anderson, it was a different game back then, too. He had Danny Ross, but that third receiver, David Verser really didn't do a great deal. Boomer had McGee Brown, Rodney Holman, but that third receiver where the Bengals have, boy, that's a tough one. This offense is, I like Ickey and Brooks too. I'll think about that one.
All right, so we're going to try opening up the phone lines again. I know we have Robert on hold. We just put Robert on hold. Nope, Robert's calling back. Let's go to Robert. Is this Robert?
Yeah.
Robert, thanks for joining us. You're on with Justin Kinner and Mark Schlemmer. Mark Schlemmer knows way more about sports than I do. That's why he's here to balance the show today a little bit. But what do you have for us? What do you think about comparing this year's Bengals team to the two Bengals teams that had made the Super Bowl in years past?
Well, one of the biggest differences, they got a better field goal kicker.
Breach was good. He just didn't have the length that McPherson has.
Right. I mean, he was good. I mean, 48 yards and 48 yards and less, he was practically automatic. But now that you got a weapon of McPherson, I mean, that's huge. Where Cincinnati was strong with the two Super Bowl teams, really, the offense, the running backs, the group of running backs that they had. But I do believe that one of the biggest keys in this game, I believe, is Chris Evans. I mean, if that guy, he is getting so much better on the kickoff returns and stuff. If they get some kickoff returns, maybe he could break one.
He almost did last week.
Right. And, yeah, definitely the show is a little bit brighter that Schlemmer's there.
Exactly. Exactly. Because Bengals fans are finally getting someone to tell them positive things about their team. Schlemmer, I never thought I'd say this. You put the lipstick on the pig. I'm just saying. That's never been you. That's never been you. But, you're all pro Bengals now, so I have to go with it.
I agree with you about Evans, but I want to see Evans out of the backfield, not just run it, but single him up on a linebacker. There's no way anybody's going to cover him.
Right. But I don't think they'll have an answer for all three of the wide receivers. But, I mean, hey, if he gets sacked 10 more times, but if the Bengals win, I'm good with it.
I think they do win, and I'm not trying to be a homer. I really think they will.
I think it's going to be 28-24 Kansas City. But,
So, hold on. So you think that the Bengals defense will hold the Chiefs to 28 points, and you think that the Chiefs defense will hold the Bengals to 24 points?
I mean, that's just my score that I'm giving. I mean, yeah, it could be 52-51, like Ohio State and Michigan that one year. But I'm just saying, I mean, yeah, I do believe that the defenses are, especially in Cincinnati, they're playing better.
I think and I mentioned a minute ago, how does Zach Taylor change his offense inside the 20 or the 10? Does he go, I got to have touchdowns and not field goals? And if it backfires, how does that play into the result?
Right.
I take points.
I think what they're going to do, I think Uzomah's got to have a great. I hope he scores a touchdown. They're in the red zone, and they're able to hit their tight end or something. They should have had way more points than 19 against Tennessee.
The one thing Kansas City will do, and Tannehill really didn't do it with Tennessee, Mahomes will break the pocket and make yards with his legs, and Burrow does that occasionally, but that's one weapon. I hope the Bengals keep an eye on Mahomes, not letting him get out of the pocket and run.
Well, you just got to hope that they pop him good.
Yeah, you get outside, 15 yards isn't an all bad penalty occasionally.
But Robert,
yeah, you got to pop. Yeah, but thanks, guys. Schlemmer, again, thanks for improving the show, and you guys have a good weekend.
Thank you.
I hope you have a bad weekend, Robert. How about that? So Bengals fans, Mark Smith on Facebook, by the way, says it sucks when Bengals fans pick the other team because Robert, I don't even know if Robert's a Bengals fan actually, but this is what. Okay, so Ben Baby is a Bengals beat writer for ESPN. He picked the Chiefs. He covers the Bengals. He predicted that the Chiefs win on Sunday.
Way to keep your job.
Well, no, good for him. Good for him for having the guts to sit there and actually do his job, and that's be, not be a homer, not be a fan. I can't stand fanboy reporters who do nothing but, cheer for the team that they're covering as a like that. They're not being a good reporter at that point. So good for Ben Baby for being honest. I'm not saying I agree with his pick, but I'm just saying good for him for being honest. But like this Mark Smith, it sucks when Bengals fans pick the other team. You mean when they use logic and they're actually like trying to not be a homer? I'm not saying by picking the Bengals you're automatically a homer, but I think homer takes are when you get mad at other people who pick the Chiefs, who I don't know have the best quarterback in the NFL, who I don't know have the best offense in the NFL, who I don't know spend to 2 straight Super Bowls. I don't think it's that hot
Playing
of a take.
in the toughest stadium in the league.
So like I don't get why Bengals fans get this
one.
one.
I could give you 1,000 reasons Kansas City is favored. I think 7's a large. By the same token, I can go, I could see them making it more than that. But this Bengal team, there's just something about them, like that 2-point conversion. Clay Johnson out of nowhere, after a penalty, if they kick the extra point, they never go to overtime. So it's just something about it. But in reality, Kansas City should be favored.
There you go. 518-1410. We'll be back.
Touchdown Bengals, get some points up on that board and win a game for Cincinnati.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with lots of sound effects. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here are some zany sounds. Saving on home insurance is no laughing matter. Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need. The money you save could change your life. It's time for you to take your insurance choice seriously. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Gentlemen, now you can find the best brands and fits for you without even trying. Just follow these easy instructions. Step 1. Shop a personalized store that does all the work for you by customizing a selection for your taste and body. Step 2. Level up your closet with the best brands and fits with little to no effort. Not trying has never looked so good. Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle, your personalized store. We're so you.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you. And to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited unlimited talk and text smartphone plan starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Nothing protects your engine better than AMSOIL lubricants. Get ready for winter. Protect your investment. AMSOIL, the first in synthetic since 1972. Come out to Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North, Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
The Lowe's Just for Pros event is back. Get savings on the top tools, plus bonus perks to help with your business. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Valid 117 to 128 U.S. only.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Hour number 2, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mine is Kev Nash. It's actually the Kinner and Schlemmer Show today, but regardless of the name of the show, if you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty a call today. Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, his number is 937-572-7425, or shoot him an email, bradmaysre@gmail.com. Brad Mays is a sponsor of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, as well as Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Appreciate our sponsors. We had some food dropped off at the station earlier today as well. Thanks to Chicken Chuck.
Always good to see Chicken Chuck.
Chicken. So appreciate him and all of our sponsors that kind of participate in what we do here. And glad to have Mark Schlemmer back in the studio here today. Obviously, he retired back in right before. I mean, really.
Right after Valentine's Day, wasn't it?
Is right when the pandemic had started to kind of make its rounds a little bit. So you chose a good time to, to retire for a little bit.
And then I started making my rounds, all the hospitals.
Well, yeah, you did do the hospital tour of the state of Ohio.
Still got a long way to go. But
you do, but glad that you're, able to come in and hang out and do the show with us and wear that ugly Bengals garb.
I had to come in and straighten you out.
You literally disowned the Bengals. One of the
Mike
last
Brown.
shows you did. What does that even mean? He's still there, Paulie. That's who you're acting
But he
like.
hadn't been the last 2 games, and they've won. Hopefully they miss and leave him at home again.
Who goes to bed earlier at night, him or you?
Oh, I'd be in bed right now watching Andy Griffith like Steve from Springboro if I was home right now.
You missed a good one with him the other day, by the way.
The replay was funny
give
enough.
Look, it was a long segment, but to sum up, this was Steve from Springboro the other day.
Got to go to work, dude. And that ain't no poodle bark, punk asses.
They
That's
had him
pretty polite
fired
for
up.
him.
They had him fired up. Now, he had them fired up. But, and I'll say, as a Browns fan, I'm a little annoyed with our Browns fans who are trying to do everything they can to ruin this experience for the Bengals. I even knew I talked so much smack all season, but I'm like, it's actually pretty damn cool that the Bengals are in this spot. And I would be doing a disservice to the area more than I usually do if I was to try and ruin this run for the Bengals. Like I've always said, for one, they had won 6 games in 2 years, and Bengals fans were mad because I was saying that they were bad. They were bad. I said, when they become good, I'll let you know. Well, guess what? They're a game away from a Super Bowl.
Browns had their run last year.
Yep. So, and thanks to injuries and COVID, they let the Bengals win the division this year. You're welcome. You should be nicer to us Browns fans. You're lucky.
Play with what you got.
Mm-hmm. Aye. We'll get to the Baker Hayfield stuff coming up here in a moment. I'm
I
sure
hope he comes back. We don't want Kirk Cousins. Leave Hayfield up there.
I said this yesterday. Kirk Cousins, give me a break. Why would the Browns fans want Kirk Cousins?
Case
anyways?
Keenum was better than Kirk Cousins when they were both in Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins couldn't win with Dalvin Cook, with Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. And you want him to come to Cleveland, where outside of Nick Chubb, who is their next most dynamic playmaker? There's no one better than Adam
Myles
Thielen.
Garrett.
There's no one better than Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson. So if he couldn't win with them in Minnesota, what makes you think he can come to Cleveland? And Jarvis is as good as gone. Jarvis is a good receiver.
No,
but
he's gone.
I don't see him.
And
coming back.
Joku's every other day while I want out of here. He's gone.
And he's, him and OBJ, I think we're having a contest to see who could drop the most passes coming their way. So
I mean, if you're the Browns right now, which you are, and you're seeing the Bengals all of a sudden strike gold, you got to be a little worried. Pittsburgh's going to start over a quarterback. You can forget Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, whoever else you want to name. They're going to be down. Baltimore, God only knows what they're going to be. But in a league where it's built for bad teams to get good, the Bengals finally did it. And if I'm Cleveland going, God, I had my one and done. Injuries, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, you just hit Landry's gone. What are they going to have?
But they have cap space to work with. They'll bring back, obviously. And by the way, everyone that clowned him about Jadeveon Clowney, that worked out pretty damn good. They were one of the best.
He was okay.
Pass rush duos. I mean, he was perfect especially down the stretch. But they have all their secondary pieces.
Aren't the Browns losing their center? Isn't Treader getting ready to retire?
No, they signed. Well, that one they signed.
I thought one of them was
they
retired.
extended Batonio. They extended their offensive line. They still have them coming back.
They got two of them back, and then Wills.
But the other one's under contract still.
I thought Treader was retiring.
So they have pretty much that core coming back. You have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt signed long term, and the cap space you do have, you're going to get Garrett Wilson
But you didn't use those two running backs all year, so why?
They were hurt. Gosh dang it! Do I really have to do this again? Do I have to?
You had a third guy that ran pretty well.
Yeah, Dearness Johnson.
Yeah, like the Titans. Instead of letting Foreman carry the ball, we'll just keep giving it to King Henry because he's King Henry. And the Bengals, thank you.
Well, you know what? If the Browns are healthy, they win. They're in the playoffs this year.
And if I hit the Mega Millions tonight, I'll send you a postcard.
I'm sure you will. Now, keep in mind, I'm having flashbacks. I'm having flashbacks like you're doing.
It only took me an hour to get you rattled.
I was like, I ain't gonna let him get under my skin. So I could feel my blood boiling. No.
Relax. You got to go to the game tonight, and it's player relation night, so just be careful.
They don't wear no hula shirts, Mark.
Chicken guy will be there.
We haven't even gotten into the college basketball side of things, but real quick. So Doug Toby. Now, I didn't realize the connection between you and Doug Toby. He constantly has to keep me in check constantly.
Had one of the nastiest split finger pitches you've ever seen.
So Doug Toby, I heard you could pitch, huh? Attaboy. Actually, this Bengals jersey in here, I lost a bet to him earlier in the year and he dropped it off. Where the hell is the jersey's hanging up in here somewhere. But
you must have it hidden pretty good.
It's a Bengals jersey.
I don't see any hayfields in here either.
Well, that's in the dryer. It's not the dryer.
Good reason.
It's in the dryer. So Doug Toby, Schlemmer. Doug Toby says that he likes the 81 team better. He says, back in 81, we had a better team than San Fran. Shot ourselves in the foot to this day. Chris Collinsworth will not watch that game, had a couple fumbles and drops. So he didn't say he's better than
that game.
This team,
and I said to you before we had a break, it was the Archie and Ray Griffin show to me. They couldn't pick a kickoff up because Worsham kept kicking ground balls. Isaac Curtis stopped short on the route on the opening drive, got picked off. He's right. Collinsworth fumbled a couple. But we had 10 guys on the field on the goal line that they stopped Alexander and Johnson. There was a lot of reasons. But you'd have to admit both Bengals Super Bowls have been two of the better ones there ever been.
So, and that's the big conversation today was just about, comparing this roster right now that's a game away from a Super Bowl. How does it stack up against some of those Super Bowl rosters for the Bengals from decades past? Here's the deal. You can't do that, though. Like Ken Anderson was an MVP quarterback from his era. Yeah, it's not even close. This aired out style, Joe Burrow's automatically the best quarterback.
Ooh, Kenny was pretty accurate, and Boomer was pretty good. Kenny was 70% completion. It would have been fun to see Kenny have these receivers. Now, Collinsworth and Curtis were pretty good, but if he could have thrown to these three, that would have been fun.
And he said that before. He's coming. I mean, he talked about Jamar Chase. Ken Anderson wanted them to go offensive line. As far as addressing the offensive line, Ken Anderson had told us that, look, just because he said they should go offensive line doesn't mean that he thinks Jamar Chase is a bad pick or was a bad player. He just preferred that they go after the offensive line.
Kenny got beat up as bad as Burrow.
And he talked about that. He said there was one year where he had one really good year, one really bad year. Everyone's like, he's washed up. He doesn't have it. And he goes, no, I don't have an offensive line. All of a sudden you get guys like Anthony Munoz and you put those big fellas and Montoyas or what have you, and you put these big bodies in front. He goes, all of a sudden I returned to form. And he's like, so everyone's like, oh man, he's returning to form. He goes, well, imagine that. You gave me an offensive line.
Have you ever seen the replay of him against the Steelers on a Monday night where Keith Gary grabbed his face mask and twisted it backward? Look that one up.
Back when you can hit a quarterback, huh?
How he didn't break his neck that night, it's pretty scary.
So, and that was back, like I said, when you can actually hit.
Were you born in?
No, I was not. I was not. So Mark Smith earlier, Schlem says it sucks when Bengals fans pick the other team. Mad about the fact that ESPN's Ben Baby, that covers the Cincinnati Bengals for them, picked the other team. And where are you at with that? Like, if a Bengals fan says, yeah, I like our team, we've had a great season, I just don't see us beating Kansas City at Kansas City, does that make them a bad fan? I mean, you quit the team a while back, so you're a bad fan. Just want to keep reminding people of that.
That's like having Buster Douglas's family bet on, Tyson. I mean, it just makes sense. The Chiefs are at home. They got an explosive offense. They've lost 2 games in the playoffs, and both were to Tom Brady. So naturally, they're going to be the favorite. Now, yeah, as a fan, you're going, hey, wait a minute. No, that's called being realistic. And maybe that's what makes him a good writer, being honest. You can't sell whipped cream with turds on them. And it just doesn't, because people see through it.
So, and then that's when he said, then he questioned my logic because the Bengals have already beat them. Big difference between having Kansas City at your home field and playing a team that has playoff experience. It's been to 2 straight Super Bowls. It has the best quarterback in the NFL. Look, by the way, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the gap between the Bengals and the Chiefs? I think it's maybe a 3. I think it's a 3 just because of experience.
Offensive line again for me.
Experience, offensive line, and coaching. What's your thoughts on Zach Taylor right now? Earlier, I said one of my hot takes was that I thought that the Bengals. I predicted, so I was half right. I had predicted that the Saints would obviously have a down year without Drew Brees, and that all of a sudden Sean Payton would realize, it's not so fun coaching anymore when you don't have a quarterback. I said he would resign from the Saints at the end of the year. He did. I said the Bengals would have a down year. All of a sudden, that job would become open, or at least a chance to get him. I think that Joe Burrow would be very interesting to pair up with him. Zach Taylor's ruined all of this stuff. Zach Taylor. What is your thoughts on Zach Taylor and how he?
I wrote him as hard as anybody, hence the name Opie. And I said earlier, would you ever put his name and Super Bowl in the same conversation? Coach of the year, you got to give the guy credit. And again, not being in the locker room and around every day, you don't know how much the players buy into his sermon, so to speak, but obviously they do. But I think you have to give the veterans, Uzama and Bell and Reeder and the guys that have been there an awful lot of credit. But again, that goes back to Taylor, Duke Tobin, for getting these guys in there. Because Cincinnati hadn't actually been the garden spot to land unless you're going to overpay somebody a lot of money. I got to give the guy credit. I mean, he has done a great job. He and Burrow seem to be on the same page. Again, I think it'll be interesting to see his play calling Sunday in a title game, but it didn't seem to affect him in Tennessee. So I'm surprised, very surprised. Now, next year he could be a dodo again. One bad year, you turn back into a dope. But right now, man, ride the wave while you can. You got to give him credit.
So Lamar Shelley said last week I ranked the quarterbacks in the AFC North. I said Joe Burrow 1. I put Lamar 2, although I think as over a complete package, Lamar's 2. But honestly, I don't think his passing numbers are pretty much what Baker does from a passing perspective. He's just
Baker's healthy
with speed. Yeah, he's Baker with the ability to run. So I said I'm going to put him at 2, but I like quarterbacks that I don't care if they can run or not. It's like, that's why you have running backs. That's a perk to me. If your quarterback can run and make plays with his legs, more power to you. But I think that his strength to run the football for Lamar outweighs his ability to throw the football. And at some point, I'd rather you be a little less talented running and more talented throwing. But I have to put him at 2. He's a former MVP. I put Baker at 3 because as of right now, unless the Steelers go get an Aaron Rodgers or whoever, Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, no, that's the worst quarterback. But he wants to know, if I rank the coaches, where would Zach Taylor be? He might be the worst coach to ever reach a Super Bowl, but hell, he's our guy. That's an interesting take. He might be the worst coach to ever reach a Super Bowl.
I'm just trying to think back of some bad ones.
I mean, Doug Peterson gets there and gets fired 2 years later. And I don't think he's bad, obviously. I mean,
yeah, but he still didn't have a job.
Man,
that's a good question.
I mean, I don't have a list of every coach that's ever made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back in my head.
Who was the coach of the Raiders that year?
Gruden.
No. When he left.
Oh, Flores went. Gruden.
Callahan. There you go.
Yeah.
Is he the worst head coach to ever get to his? Well, that's to get to a Super Bowl.
That's a good question.
But that's a good question. But if you look at the AFC North, where does Zach Taylor rank in the AFC North? Obviously, Mike Tomlin. No one
3.
comes close. Actually, you know what? I would put
3. I don't like Tomlin. I never have. But he's awful successful. John Harbaugh's obviously had some pretty good success. Hope he's had 1 year. Stefanski the jury's still out. So I hope he be 3 for me right now.
Hope he has one more playoff win than Stefanski.
Well, Joe Burrow's got how many more than Dak Prescott?
Hey, I'm just saying, look.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just being a homer for the Browns at that point. Like, the Bengals are going to say Taylor's better than Stefanski. I think Stefanski's better than Taylor, but one coach has Baker Mayfield, the other one has Joe Burrow.
Both are calling plays, and Stefanski didn't use his offense very well.
So, but Stefanski was bad this year, but Taylor's been bad the last 2 years.
Next year, it could flip.
So, but like, I don't think you can go wrong in any order, but I would have Tomlin. For me, it would be Tomlin, Harbaugh, even though Harbaugh's won, 2 Super Bowls?
Been there.
And what he's doing now with Lamar. I mean, this is his second quarter, but he won a Super Bowl with Joe freaking Flacco. And then now he has one of the top teams in the AFC with the Ravens with the new quarterback in Lamar. So he evolves to where Mike Tomlin, all of his success has been.
I want to see how much you evolve now with a quarterback that's been beat up.
You know what? I'm changing. I'm going to put Harbaugh 1, Tomlin 2. Because I'm a Browns fan, I think that's 1A and 1B when you talk about Taylor.
Well, it is a former Browns.
But if Taylor, this as of right now, though, this could change if come this Sunday. It would be Harbaugh for me, Tomlin 2, Stefanski 3, Zach Taylor 4. But I will do this. If Zach Taylor gets his team to a Super Bowl, I will flip-flop those. I will put Zach Taylor as the third best coach in the AFC North.
The difference in Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and guys like that, Mahomes doesn't look to run right away. He can run to hurt you. Lamar looks to run to run.
Charlie said Barry Switzer. Puppet boy to Jerry.
Yeah, Cowboys.
That's a good one, Charlie. Yeah, Barry Switzer from Jeff. Mark Smith says Mike McCarthy. Not terrible. I know he's still coaching, but he's back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But that guy's a weirdo. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy
Well, when you
guy.
just extend Dan Quinn, keep him from leaving, that's probably not a good sign for McCarthy.
That was probably Jerry Jones telling Dan Quinn, you might want to stay put here because I don't see this
like
working
Bieniemy.
next year and the job's yours.
I think they
that.
promised Bieniemy the same thing in Kansas City. Why else is he not? He's dropped off the face of the coaching earth all of a sudden.
So one more time for you, and then we'll go to the phones. But it's who's your rank the 4?
The quarterback or the coach?
The coach.
Tomlin, Harbaugh, Taylor, and Stefanski.
Why Stefanski last, Schlemmer? Is it because that homer shirt?
Because all the rest of them have just about been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or at least a championship game.
I mean, you guys tell me Baker's
Super
so
Bowl
bad.
is a game the Browns don't know. That's a game at the end of the year. If you win, you get to go to, not as a fan.
Here we go. So let me get this straight. So Stefanski, Baker Mayfield's so bad. So the fact that Zach Taylor, who has the God himself, Joe Burrow, you only have one more playoff win than the coach that has Baker Mayfield at quarterback?
They both came in at the same time. Give him time.
They didn't come in at the same time. Zach Taylor's been there for. Zach Taylor worked his tail off to provide 2 top 5 draft picks in back-to-back seasons.
He did a great job, too.
Yes, he did. I mean, if you're going to lose right. Don't try to win late in the season. I mean, my gosh. All right, 518-1410. I think this is Big E. Big E, how are you, sir?
How you guys doing? It's good to hear you guys today.
You got like a nasal cold going on?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm like Lou Rawls for a minute.
No, I'm just getting old and stuff, But I was listening in. I've been listening quite a bit. I don't call much anymore, but got a lot of things going on in my life and stuff. I don't have the time to do that. And you're aware of some of it, Mark. But anyway, I was just a couple thoughts on the game Sunday. I think this game is the Chiefs' game to lose and the Bengals' game to win.
Okay, explain what you mean by the Chiefs' game to lose.
Well, it's almost a given. I mean, if you listen to most of the shows and things, and most of the talk, even around people, I mean, the Bengals are favorites in a way of people want them to win, but they don't really expect it to happen. And I think even people that are fans like myself, there's still a lot of doubt. We went through a long time of them not playing well, and what I think the Chiefs kind of went over the top last Sunday, and they were 13. They were a kickoff. If they had kicked off and not put it into the end zone and given Mahomes a chance, they were done. They were done. If they'd have did a Ray Worsham kick and kick a line drive that bounced all over the place, guy picks it up, half that clock's gone.
They were done. You're right. That game's over if they kick it like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a coaching blunder of epic proportions. So, but everybody expects the Chiefs to win, and sometimes that can be quite a burden. You know, I mean, it's their game to lose. It's the Bengals' game to win. If the Bengals had nothing to lose by going out there and just busting their tail.
No, you're right. They're playing on house money.
Take every chance there is.
You made an interesting point. The Chiefs are coming off of a game they should have lost. It took a lot out of them. But then you look at it and go, okay, they got beat in Cincinnati. How much does that, I don't know, help them or hurt them? I don't think it has an effect one way or the other personally. But how much did that Buffalo game take out of Kansas City?
Well, I mean, I just know sometimes when the expectation is there for you, that's a lot. It's a lot to kind of live up to, time after time after time. And you know, the two things going. One thing about the Bengals, they do know that they can play with the Chiefs, and they have beaten the Chiefs. That goes a long way as far as the fear factor. You know, I think that's just my line of thinking anyway.
The one thing I keep waiting for is, and I complimented the Bengals on this, is I keep waiting for them to have that rookie game or that youth game where the moment looks too big for them. And I thought we'd see it in that first playoff game, and I felt like it was coming a little bit in that second half. You know, luckily the McPherson field goals kind of kept the Raiders from coming back. That big interception against Carr sealed the deal. I was waiting for it last week, and there was a point where Joe Burrow, when he took that sack, it was 3rd and 3, and then it was 4th and 19, and I'm like, this is going to be the time where that young team just kind of tucks their tail and just says, well, we had a good run. But they just keep coming back and fighting through adversity. So it's like every time I want to pick the Chiefs in this, I just keep thinking about how this team just every time you knock them down or every time you think they're going to stay down, they just keep getting back up. It's like they don't know any better. That's the kind of the phrasing I've been hearing said about this team, and that's kind of how I view it here. The only thing, the atmosphere is going to be insane at this game in favor of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It'll be the craziest environment they've ever played in, at least in the NFL. Obviously, Joe Burrow's played in big games. That could be the only thing I could see having an impact where it maybe kind of shakes this team a bit. You know, on 3rd and short situations, time management situations, trying to get the play in from Zach Taylor or what have you, who's also new to this particular game. Andy Reid, the Chiefs have experience at the coaches, assistant coaches. They have it at quarterback. I mean, the roster as a whole. I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to impact the game or lose them the game, but that could play a factor for obvious reasons.
Let me ask both of you, Ed, you and Justin both, who do you worry more about? Zach Taylor calling plays, Joe Burrow playing in his first title game, Lou Anamuro calling defenses? All of them are new to this. So who do you worry the most about?
Zach Taylor, mainly because, especially early in the game, if it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, are you gonna you're going up against Patrick Mahomes. You can't trade McPherson field goals for Patrick Mahomes touchdowns. I think that he's going to be faced with a lot of tough decisions early. You know, I know you want to say take the points, it's a playoff game, but you also can't settle for 2 or 3 straight possessions of 2 field goals and a touchdown compared to 3 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to come down to those ballsy decisions that Zach Taylor's going to be met with. Joe Burrow's good enough to convert on 4th down. The offense is good enough, but will that moment get to Zach Taylor? Will he crunch up? Will he tighten up? I'm sorry, play calling wise. That's kind of what
You're trying to say how swelled up will his butthole get.
Yeah, exactly. What Kev Nash calls that lemon booty.
Mm-hmm.
Will his sphincter tighten up a little bit? Big E, what about
you?
I hear
it. I hear what you're saying, and he's given a lot of reasons for people to look that way and to kind of have a little flinch going on at times. But lately, he's made some good calls. I mean, I was talking to Mark about this the other day. The play the other night on the kickoff. Now, when the Bengals played them in Cincinnati, he made a call. Of going for it. He kept going for it, and everybody was, why didn't he kick the daggone field goal? He wasn't going to give Mahomes that chance that Buffalo's coach gave Mahomes. He wasn't going to do it, even if it meant go into overtime. He was not going to give Mahomes a chance to beat them with time on the clock. And you're looking back on it now, he made a great call.
He got a little help on the penalties, but you're right. It kept the ball out of his hands.
The penalties that I saw, they weren't ticky-tack. They were legit, but they happened at an opportune time, and you don't always get them.
No, the Bengals haven't been the one to get a lot of calls.
But Big E,
I've got one more thing before we go.
Okay,
I'd like to throw out there. You're talking about favorite Bengals teams or which one was the best. I've got to go with the Boomer Esiason team. It was 88, 89, whatever year that was.
What tilted the scale for you?
Tim Crumrye, he hasn't been mentioned. Tim Crumrye was probably the defensive player of the year that year. And he was the guy that was going to check Roger Craig, and when you break your leg, severely early in the game. Man, that was a big chunk. I think if he plays that whole game, they more than likely might have beat San Francisco by 10 points.
I remember that Stanley Wilson game, too. He wasn't there either.
Yeah. But Tim Crumrye was a difference maker, man. He was a leader, a tackler. Good guy, come out of every game with a bloody nose, kind of like Ray Nitschke, That's an old name.
He was the heart and soul of that defense. You're right.
But Big E, we appreciate hearing your voice. I don't mean to rush you off. We just have a couple other calls, and we're up against the clock, unfortunately.
All righty. I'll be listening. Great to talk to you and enjoying the show, guys.
See you.
Take care. Appreciate it. 518-1410.
Forgot about Tim Crumrye. That's a good point. He had him and Fulcher right up the middle.
So we're talking about the previous Bengals Super Bowl appearing teams, but what about that Carson Palmer team? That Carson Palmer team was pretty damn good as well.
And
I don't know.
think that play took him and Chris Henry both out at the same time.
In all seriousness, how do you compare this team to that? I think that this team is more similar to that than any of those Super Bowl appearing teams.
I'm trying.
Now, let me ask you, is that Palmer team the best one since those Super Bowl teams? Because there was a good down stretch for that.
Yeah, because you had 5 straight years with Andy Dalton, but I can think the Colts game, they used Rex Burkhead as their number 2 receiver. Well, where the hell's your practice squad guys?
They love practice squad guys here.
Yeah, it was... Palmer's team was good. No, they got to be behind Ken Anderson's and Boomer's team for me.
And right now, it's safe to say, at the beginning of the year, I wasn't willing to say Burrow. I'll take Burrow over Palmer.
Oh, I would.
Now I would. Now it's not even a question. But at that time, and then you look at the receiving core. This receiving core is better. Running back. Again, that team was good for Palmer. And who knows what happens if that injury does. I hear Bengals fans say all the time, if that injury doesn't happen, I'm not guaranteeing a Super Bowl.
All right, what if Andy Dalton doesn't break his thumb against the Steelers trying to tackle Tua on the interception?
Well, to be fair, that was the closest they were to winning a playoff game during that stretch. It was with McCarron. It had nothing to do with McCarron. And, and I've heard people say that they'll take that defense from that 5 straight playoff year run over this one. And I'm like, I'll take a less talented defense who has a good head on their shoulders versus that defense that was probably one of the best, most physical defenses in the NFL, but they didn't have good head on their shoulders. They were just not disciplined. I give Zach Taylor credit for here because they're one of the least penalized teams in football. They're so damn disciplined. I can't stand the Browns.
This team's playing with 2 linebackers and sometimes 1. They've really made hay on the free agent market. Trey Flowers, a couple of guys they picked up off the waiver wire. They've got the corner on cornerbacks and safeties. But right now in the NFL, that's what you got to have. And that's why I go back to Chris Evans. You better have a cornerback or safety cover that guy if you're Kansas City because the linebacker's not going to do it.
518-1410. Let's go to Jeff and Troy. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're good. All right.
Thanks for holding, man. What do you got for us?
Well, first and foremost, Schlemmer, it's great to hear your voice.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be here.
I'm a huge Browns fan, but me and my best friend of 30 years, he's a big Bengals fan. I'm a big Browns fan, and we've always had a handshake agreement. Whoever makes it in the playoffs, because we never do, we'll jump on the other's bandwagon. But I think Cincinnati's going to play a perfect game Sunday. Perfect.
Even does their last matchup, I keep finding myself saying things like that, Troy, but I'm sorry, Jeff, but then I'm like, but wait, the Kansas City, they have to be figuring out how to stop this offense too. Like, this isn't a one-way like, this isn't the Bengals trying to figure out how to beat the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs really need to figure out how to beat the Bengals too. I mean, not just because they beat the Chiefs already, but because this offense, forget the what the helmet looks like and forget who the organization is. I don't care that it is the Bengals. This offense is arguably the second
You're
best
not going to
in the
hold
AFC.
Kelsey down to 25 yards. You're not going to keep Tyreek Hill from going off. So it's they got away with it
That's
once.
kind of my point. You know, I kind of think really in the last two games they won in spite of that coach. I mean, against the Raiders, he took his foot off the gas in the second half, or that game wouldn't have been close. And honestly, how many times your quarterback got to get sacked in a game before you quit the 7-step drops and throw quick slants and get the ball out of his hand quick and let your playmakers make some plays?
But you also got to realize the other team knows that's coming too. So if you take away the deep threat with Higgins and Chase, you're pretty much handcuffing your offense within a 5-yard block of yardage. So you got to trust your linemen occasionally.
I'm hoping they win, but man, it was 34-30 in Cincinnati a month ago, and the Chiefs had, 3-4 turnovers, and only won by 4?
Okay, but the Bengals created them, and the Bengals are down 14 twice. So you got to give them credit for that. Now, maybe Kansas City really wasn't playing.
World. I hope they win. I really, really do, man. But I think they're back to the wall, and
Oh, there's no doubt. They're playing on house money. They're not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
But then again, 88 and 81, they weren't supposed to be there either.
Jeff, before we let you go, Jeff, let me ask you. You look at the Niners are an underdog against the Rams, even though it's kind of ironic. The two underdogs this weekend are the two teams that, the Bengals, I mean, their offense overpowered the Chiefs, just about a month ago. And the Niners took care of business twice this year against the Rams. But yet the two teams that are 3-0 against their opponents this weekend are the underdogs. Which underdog do you think has the best chance at winning this weekend? The Niners over the Rams or the Bengals over the Chiefs?
Rams over the Niners.
Or the Niners over the Rams?
As far as underdog,
the Niners. Oh, the Rams are favored. My bad. Yeah, I'm hoping for a Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. I really am.
You want Aaron Donald to ride him cowboy on Burrow?
Yes, he's a Browns fan. He's smart. That's
that's
exactly
right.
what I'm talking about, Jeff. That's exactly
I got it.
I like to see Matt Stafford go just because of all his years in Detroit.
That's the difference. He's still got lion in him.
Oh, man. He's going to be lying there. I mean, Joe Burrow's going to be the one lying there. Whew. Jeff, thank you, man. 518-1410, 518-1410, Bengals Chiefs. Real quick. So, Bengals is 7-point underdog against the Chiefs. What's the Niners line, by the way? 4? By the way, that line, that shouldn't be that way. I don't understand that, but it is interesting. The Chiefs and the Bengals and the Niners are both 3-0 against their opponents this weekend on the season, but yet they're both underdogs. But which underdog has a better chance at beating their opponent this weekend? You think it's the Niners?
I think the Niners win straight up.
I think for the Niners to beat the Chiefs, or for the Niners to beat the Rams have to play poor.
Matt Stafford will make sure that happens.
I don't think, like the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes could play great like he did against the Bills and still lose to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow could play great and they could still lose. I think that, honestly, I think the Bengals have a better chance at beating the Chiefs than the Niners do of the Rams. And it's funny because I'm picking the Niners to beat the Rams.
The funny part, and I laugh at Browns fans because they're always going, oh, the Bengals can't even sell out a playoff game. What's funny, Tennessee had that problem.
Well, the
Rams are having that, but the Rams are trying to block the 49er fans, but all they yell about the Bengals.
So let me get, you're fine with having an embarrassing fan base because there's other embarrassing fan bases? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, as long as you get
there's
there.
that honesty that people were talking about.
I don't care if they show up. It's the guys on the field. As Bayer said, it's the Joes and whoever, not X's and O's.
518-1410. I see Larry. I see James. I see Eric. A couple others on hold. You guys are next. More of the Justin Kinner Show with, this today is Mark Schlemmer. It's the Kinner and Schlemmer Show. It's a throwback. We'll be back.
The weather's always the same when I'm here.
Yeah, someone already asked about the time we got in an accident on the way home from work one day.
Yeah, I'm coming around. My neck is all right. Got the whiplash out.
Schlemmer's a good friend. You know why? He didn't sue. He did not sue. He did not sue me, and that's all that matters. All right, we'll be back in. Oh, holy smokes.
Cow, he did show up.
Keith Byers is in the house. We'll be back in a moment.
So what you looking at right away?
Touchdown Bengals, get some points up on that board and win again. Cincinnati.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 28. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low near 5. And tomorrow will be clear, sunny, and cold, a high near 23. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
So yeah, I used the savings from switching to Progressive 50 years ago to finally buy my dream car. It's a self-driving flying car, but we just say self-flying now. You know, because it's the future and cars fly in the future.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside app and get 25 cents per gallon cash back on every gallon of gas you buy. Don't miss out. Millions of people have earned over $200 cash back every month just by using Get Upside and getting gas, which you were going to do anyways. There's no catch. It's simple and free. Download the free Get Upside app now and use promo code HYBRID to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's promo code HYBRID.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates and equipment technicians. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefit package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage starting at $19 per hour with annual increases and shift differential. KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply or see other career opportunities at KTH.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
For your free quote, call 1-800-519-0449. That's 1-800-519-0449. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-519-0449.
Select Quote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Skyways are back at Skyline for a very limited time. Now through February 6th, order a Skyway and get 50% extra cheese at no extra charge on regular and large ways. At participating Skylines only. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Amsoil, the #1 in synthetic lubricants since 1972. The Colonel here for Homestead Feed and Supply. Whether it's motorcycles, small engine, diesel, or high-performance gasoline.
Best brands that fits for you without even trying. Just follow these easy instructions. Step 1, shop a personalized store that does all the work for you by customizing a selection for your taste and body. Step 2, level up your closet with the best brands and fits with little to no effort. Not trying has never looked so good. Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle, your personalized store. We're so you.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0.9% financing on the 22 Honda Pilot, Honda Passport, and Honda HR-V, and as low as 1.9% financing on all other 22 Hondas while supplies last. We can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build 22 Hondas every day. See me, sales manager Jason High, for all the details. We're located Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
March Madness and the Big Hoopla are back in Dayton with the 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, no Kev Nash today. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Brad Mays a call today, 937-572-7425. Brad Mays again with Home Experts Realty. Shout out to Brad. In fact, Brad is our realtor. He helped Nora and I, my fiance. We just bought our first home, and we're all comfortable and inside, all moved in. We got our fence put up, and now the only problem is we have this awesome ass deck, and I just have to sit back and watch the snow come down and not be able to sit outside in the cold.
You gotta get KB to come over there and do some cooking for you.
Not the cooking. I mean, it's perfect for cigars.
Fire that grill up and cigars.
Hey, you noticed something, KB, since I've been gone? Boy's buying a house now.
See?
I know where my salary went.
I was gonna say all that money we were paying you, I've absorbed it and put it into a house, and you tell
Brad I gotta get him back on the golf course when the weather breaks.
Oh, that's right. You've golfed with Brad.
Yes,
Brad's really going to appreciate that. Yes, and he's a Dolphins fan too, and I always forget that. I asked him to come golf with us that one day, not for just not thinking that he's a Dolphins fan and you playing for the Dolphins. So we're on the golf course. I'm like, hey, you're a Dolphins fan.
By the way,
it's kind of crazy how many Dolphins fans there are in the area.
I would need a real estate agent to play golf with me because he'd see property he's never seen before.
Well, I think that the property around the golf course wouldn't appreciate you out on the course.
People out of Country Club of the North can attest to that.
Holy moly. I haven't been angry in a while. Someone's like, you haven't gotten angry in a while? I said, I haven't golfed in a while. I haven't golfed in a while. There's nothing more humbling than golf. Let me tell you that. But Justin Kinner, Mark Schlemmer back in the house today for the first time since he retired back in I feel like this is like wrestling where the old timers come back. And
in Japan. Now I got the third stooge back.
Hey, but when Mark retired, we told we're not gonna really let you totally retire. We're gonna still get you in here from time to time.
I'm surprised
get your act on the thing.
I'm surprised you haven't been coming out to the Sunday morning show.
Well, there's no food with him out there.
No, they have it down to a science now. The chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle soup is waiting.
Last week we had to send the chicken noodle soup back to the warmer because she had it there waiting for him. I'm like, he's not here yet. You got to take it back, let it warm up.
Fashionably late still, huh?
Right on time.
Yeah, shout out to the staff at Frickers, making sure Keith's taken care of.
Thank you.
Getting that soup already. But there you go. I've had some when people do get the chicken noodle soup at Frickers, they do tag the Facebook page or the Twitter page. They're like, I had to figure out what all this, what all the talk of the chicken noodle soup was about.
Pretty good.
So there
good
you go.
saltine crackers in there, right?
But we're talking about the AFC Championship game. So it's funny, Schlem. One Sunday morning, Byers comes up, doesn't even say hello, sits down, he goes, I'm tired of people coming up to me trying to tell me to tell you to back off about the Bengals. It reached Byers. That's how much people were pissed off at me about that.
Sometimes a couple of fairways over. Hey, tell Justin. Who would have thunk in August of 2021 that the Bengals going to be one of the 4 teams still playing?
Do you see what the payoff is if you put $10 on them?
No.
$15K.
Wow. What was wrong with me? Why not do that?
Oh, I thought the over-under was easy. 6 wins was low.
Oof.
So now you are doing, before we get to our calls, Keith Byers, 13-year NFL, former NFL veteran, Pro Bowl running back, college football Hall of Famer. I had your, resume down to a T, and then you had to add college football Hall of Famer to the mix, and now I'm fumbling over words. But you're going to be doing a watch party, a virtual watch party presented by Millions coming up this Sunday. Bengals for the Bengals game. Tell everyone how they can get involved in that and watch the game.
Well, you can go to my social media and find it. You can find me on Twitter. What is my social media?
See, I know your Twitter. KB41.
KB41. And it's on there. It's posted. There's a link that you can click on, and you can register now. You don't have to wait till Sunday at 3:00. And we'll have a virtual watch party. You can see me. I can't see you, but you can type in your questions, and I will answer them live during the game. So you'll see my reaction, in real time, because I get emotional. You guys see me watch games before. I get emotional when I'm watching games, more so when I'm watching the Buckeyes and the Eagles and the Patriots and the Jets and the Dolphins. But this is an AFC Championship game. So I will be watching it intently, and you'll watch my reactions, get my questions, get my answers, how you think I feel about it. So if it's 3rd and 5, and you might have a question, who should Joe Burrows throw the ball to. So the defense blitz. So you know what? And I'll talk you all the way through it, through the game. So it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. This is my first time doing it. So it's a virtual watch party. And you can find it at KAB41 at twitter.com. Or you can find it on Facebook too. You can go to my Facebook page, Keith Byers, and you can just click on the link and register. And it doesn't cost you money. It's free. It's free. So it
free $99. Yeah, again, I'm at the website right now. Again, I just went to KB's to Keith Byers' Twitter account at KAB41. Clicked on the link. It says free watch party with NFL alum Keith Byers. Chiefs versus Bengals, 3:00 this Sunday. You just click on the sign up for the free watch party. You make a free account and off you go. But
off you go.
Pretty cool. But
you don't have a dog in this fight.
I do not.
So what do you do? Root for Ohio State players?
Somewhat.
Could you get a hold of Isaiah Prince?
I want to see a 4-quarter game, and who breaks, who wins. And
you had love last weekend, then.
Oh, I did. That Buffalo Kansas City game. If I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I'm mad at my coach even today.
I don't know if he gets back into city limits.
Yeah, I mean You said we're going to be aggressive. They were aggressive for 59 minutes and 47 seconds, and then they got compassive. 13 seconds, a lot can happen.
Timeouts.
Hold on. Time out. Hear me out on this one, because I didn't have an issue with it, but tell me why I'm wrong, because I know I'm wrong, but I need to know why I'm wrong. I didn't mind them kicking it out of bounds, because if you squib it and Patrick Mahomes gets the ball at the 40, now he has to cover 60 yards versus at the 25 having to cover way more.
No, they get it at 35 when you kick it out.
But
just kick a ground balls, what they were talking about.
You're saying
bounds.
He kicked it out. So he get the ball to
That's
25.
35.
No,
out of the end zone.
Out of the end zone, 25.
Look at that. You just talk your problems out and find out where you're wrong in life.
I didn't say squib it out of bounds, kick it out of bounds. I said squib it.
Yeah.
So it's an
kick in the back of the end zone, like.
You mean return? You mean don't let them return?
Don't let
them go 75 yards for a touchdown and 50 yards for a field goal.
I thought if you squibbed it, now your ball's pretty damn close to the halfway mark. One throw and you're in field goal, but at least he had to throw it two.
It's 13 seconds. When you squib it, that's not a round ball. It's not a baseball or a basketball. It's an oval. It's going to take a lot of funny hops. At best, it's going to eat up. At worst, it's going to eat up 5 seconds. That's going to give you 8 seconds.
That's a squib in the regular season. We talked about this about Zach Taylor, what we're looking for this week. Will the moment to make him make a bad decision? Was that a playoff decision? Was that the moment was not too big, but was the moment? Did he probably make a decision that he wouldn't have made in the regular season, probably just because the angst of the situation?
Yeah, and he choked.
Yeah.
Your field goals against touchdowns is my worry with Zach Taylor. Is you got to push the panic button and go, I'm not going for 3.
Take the points.
I got to take 7.
Yes. But remember, there's 3 elements to the football game to a win: offense, defense, and special teams.
And special teams been forgotten a lot.
Yes, and that's what hurt Buffalo. That was a special teams decision, not that they're special. So you're telling your special teams, they got Tyreek Hill back there. He might return it on us. Really? That's what you're scared of? You got to trust your special teamers to make the tackle if the ball gets into it.
And the Bengals did it against Tennessee. Trey Flowers made 2 tackles on punt returns inside the 10.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Big difference.
And then you go over to the Green Bay game, a block field goal, block punt.
Special teams coordinator looking for a job.
Special teams, wins. If Kansas City loses against Buffalo, they left 4 points on the field, extra point and a missed field goal. Those 4 points came back.
You're laughing at Tennessee. The Bengals get called for penalties, so Tennessee goes for 2 instead of the extra point, and he gets stopped by somebody that just signed off the street, and that's a ball game.
Yeah, the score is 6-6. Yep. Extra point is 7-6. What's the difference?
Never goes
Why
overtime.
You want to go 8-6?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, it's the first half, and we got Derrick Henry. We can get a yard. Kick the extra point, man. Y'all overthinking it.
We thank you for that.
Yes, Bengal fans thank them.
Yeah, it's a big one, obviously, this weekend. But 518-1410. We'll get back to the phone calls. We'll get back to our conversation with Keith Byers in a moment. But we have Milano's Larry. Milano's Larry is calling in. Milano's Larry, how are you, sir? Oh, come on. Larry from Milano's is going to give you a hoo-day. He's actually a busy guy. They got the Dayton Flyers game tonight. So I'm sure him and his store getting prepped for that because everyone's out, getting ready to get some dinner before going to the Whiteout.
Forgetting they do play tonight.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. A big one there. Wright State's in action tonight at 9
It's a
o'clock.
big one for them, too.
They have the big blackout against Cleveland State. They have Torrey Patton on that Cleveland State team. They have a couple of local kids, Parker and obviously Torrey Patton from Trotwood. But that's I'm excited to see them. I'm hoping I hope they play well and Cleveland State loses. That's
Let it snow
about this, but
I'll stay home, watch them.
They don't know. They need people to go. Oh, you can go home.
I'll be in bed.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know if you'll even catch the first half.
I'll be asleep on the way home.
But Dayton going to be in action. I see Dayton doing a whiteout. They never do whiteout.
No.
Why are they doing a white? Is it?
Wait a minute. You got Wright State doing a blackout for a team that doesn't even have black in their school colors, and now UD is doing a
black
whiteout.
Jerseys. They're going to wear their black jerseys tonight.
I haven't seen this about the whiteout. Is that a coincidence that the team in Fairborn is doing something?
Yeah, because yes, when Wright State makes it,
So it's not student relation player night, right?
They don't wear
chicken head
shirts.
guy will be there.
They don't wear a chicken shirt, Mark. That was still one of the better segments from back.
Got us home from Detroit.
That was funnier than all get out. But But let's go to who do we have next? Let's go to James. James, how are you? Thanks for holding.
Justin, you've done a great job in holding down the fort for the past several years on 1410 airwaves.
Uh-huh.
You are sitting in royalty right now. You've got Mr. Keith Myers, Dayton Hall of Famer, college great, NFL great, and you also have Mark Schlemmer with
College
you there.
football Hall of Famer too. A long list. I get you're going to miss one every once in a while.
But you got Mark Schlemmer. I met you at the Clodbusters in 2008 when I just moved from Chicago.
Yes, you did.
And and I have called in many times over the years when you're on this airwaves and other airwaves.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, Justin, before I get on this, you got to be feeling pretty good on a Friday afternoon to be sitting with those two guys.
I sit here every Friday. And I have good company with Kev. I have great company today, and I'm just.
Myers and I are only here for the chicken. We don't care about the show.
It's a Friday, and that's we're talking about the Bengals in the playoffs. It's a good day.
All right, so I'm going to throw this out. Baseball, basketball, football. I think the game, they're all based on matchups. And so sometimes we say, like, this team's better, this team's favored, but I think matchups are really important. The reality is we shut down Tyreek Hill, and we shut down Kelsey, and we held the Kansas City Chiefs to 3 points in the second half. I was at the game. It was loud. It wasn't that loud. I think noise plays a part. But do you guys think that matchups are part of this equation and may explain why the Bengals and Chiefs played a really close game 4 weeks ago?
No doubt in my mind, Keith, you speak to this better than I can, but baseball, it's the same as a left-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter. And I said it earlier, Chris Evans, to me, the Bengals need to get him out of the backfield because who's going to cover him? You got to double up Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Shazama. You're going to get a linebacker on that kid? So matchups for me, maybe that's what the Bengals been saving. I don't know, but absolutely. But I can't see the Bengals shutting Kelsey, Hill, Pringle, and those guys down completely again. But matchups, offensive line, defensive line. Can Isaiah Prince block anybody this week? Can Jonah Williams block anybody this week? That's where it's won and lost.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the Bengals gave up 4 touchdowns against the Kansas City Chiefs last time. Obviously, it wasn't a big game from Tyreek Hill, but let me be honest. So, Keith, your headphones weren't in. So, and thank you for the call. Appreciate it. You asked about the importance of matchups, and I don't know if you remember watching that Bengals Chiefs game last time. Kelsey didn't have a big game. Tyreek Hill had 6 catches for 40 yards, no touchdowns. Travis Kelsey had where did he go? He had a touchdown.
Yards,
about 5. Yeah, he had 5 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown. The longest being an 8-yarder. But Patrick Mahomes still threw for 2 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. They put 4 touchdowns up on the board. It doesn't matter who's scoring the touchdowns. Bottom line is, did they shut down the Chiefs? you won by a field goal. It was 34-31. Yeah, and you're right. They gave up 3 points, I guess, in the second half. Bottom line is, you cannot count on. You can't just assume you're going to hold Kansas City to 3 points in any half, especially in the postseason with the Super Bowl on the line.
Yeah, it's like if Kansas City was a divisional opponent, you got to treat it the same way. When the Bengals play the Steelers, they don't just say what happened in the first game, so that's automatically going to happen in the second game, whether good, bad, or indifferent. So, I shouldn't say it's rare. It's a bonus when you're playing a team for the second time that's not in your conference. Your division. Sometimes you got to play them 3 times. One time I was in New England, we played the Dolphins 3 times. We played them twice in the regular season. It happened the second time we played them was the last game of the regular season. So we had to play them back to back. Whoever won that game hosted the playoff game. So it was in Miami on week 16. We beat them, and so they had to come first round of the playoffs up to New England and play us again. So that's back-to-back games 3 times in the season. That's a tough.
Who's got the advantage? Because it sounds like it's in-game adjustments at that point. Now, Andy Reid, obviously a veteran coach. Opie Taylor not. Who holds the advantage now?
There is no advantage. It's execution. I mean, it would be one thing a team could have an advantage if they played them in September, October. They just played them in December. And by December, you're playing your best football because you're playing your way into the playoffs. You are who you are come December. You're not going to change your identity once the playoffs start. So the Bengals are going to get who the Kansas City Chiefs were in December, who they were last week, and it comes down to execution. Who's going to out-execute each other. There's no more tricks. I mean, you're going to have a play here, play there, but you're going to ride with what got you here. And Cincinnati is going, offensively, it's clear they're the best offense in AFC North. They're one of the top 3 team offenses in the whole AFC. They can move the ball on anybody, anywhere, anytime. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, protecting Joe Burrow and the defense getting enough stops throughout the game. And that's Kansas City's worry too. They didn't stop Buffalo. Time ran out. So and then it always comes back to who's going to take care of the football better, who's going to have the least amount of turnovers. And Cincinnati has done a heck of a job the last month of the season taking care of the football.
Will that Buffalo game take any juice out of Kansas City at all?
None. If anything, it gives them life to no matter what, we can come back. A lot of those guys was in the locker room when they was watching Tampa come back against the Rams. He said, man, that could be us if we don't want that to have to happen. But it did. They needed to come back and have that drive and a momentum we talk about all the time. When you get Mo on your side, you can go a long way. They're riding that wave. Now, the Bengals' biggest challenge is, and they've done a great job their first 2 playoff games. The first time they got they haven't been stopped in that first quarter of both their playoff games. They went down against the Raiders, scored points on the board. Went down against Tennessee, got points on the board. Both times in Tennessee, the first 2 times they got the ball, they're going to kick field goals, but they took that crowd out. And the players got momentum. It's only a matter of time, man, we can move the ball. They go to Kansas City this week. And the offense sputters a little bit in the first half for whatever reason why. And Kansas City goes up 7-0, 10-3. Oh gosh. Then you always feel like you're going uphill. I played in a lot of football stadiums in the National Football League. Kansas City and the old RFK Stadium, which the Washington football team don't play there anymore, were the 2 loudest outdoor stadiums that I played in. They're going to Kansas City. That is a loud.
So you're saying,
outdoor
and I
arena.
agree, kick the field goal early, because if you go down 4th and 2 and you don't get it, that crowd all of a sudden is all over you and you're down. It's like you didn't score. You just have nothing.
Right. So if you get a field goal, Kansas City comes back with a touchdown. So what? We're 1 score away from having this lead again. We're going to move the ball. We got to wait for it. It's going to happen. Like Denzel Washington and Remember the Titans. Like Novocaine, give it a shot. It's going to take time. It's going to kick in. It's going to work. The Bengals offense is going to work. You just want it to work for 60 minutes, whether they, and that people are human. I mean, Kansas City's not perfect. They punt too. They don't score touchdowns.
Turn the ball over too,
and they would turn the ball over. So who wins that turnover battle has a lot to do with it. If I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, the offensive line coach needs to have his best game of the year. He had a horrible game last year because a lot of went wrong against Tennessee wasn't all physical. A lot of it was mental.
There's a lot of free runners.
Yes, so they need to put more time in film study. And yes, they're not going against Tennessee's defensive line, but Kansas City's defensive line is not bad.
Good.
Yeah, but I'm saying they got to shore that up. And I'm saying, how do you shore it up? You go to more zone blocking schemes instead of man blocking schemes. When they try to confuse you, they got 6 and 7 people in the box, and then they fall out and only bring 4. And you got 2 guys blocking one and no guys blocking another guy. Hey, that's the problem. You leave guys unfettered to the quarterback. That's not good. So what would I do? More zone schemes and inside out. Take away the A-gap blitzes, the B-gap blitzes. Hey, let's step down and let the blitzers, the rushers, come from outside. Give Joe Burrows a fighting chance. When they come right up the gut,
he's got no chance.
He got no chance at all. He got no chance. That's what Kansas City does a great job with Pat Mahomes. The pressure comes from outside, and he breaks contain and steps up in the pocket.
He's 40 yards down.
He ran for what, 75 yards?
Yep.
Oh my God! If he runs for 75 yards Sunday against the Bengals,
it's over.
It's over. It's a wrap. He runs for 50 yards. They're probably going the way to LA. He's gonna probably run all the way to California for the Super Bowl.
All right, Justin Kinner, Mark Schlemmer, College Football Hall of Famer, former NFL Pro Bowl running back Keith Byers with you here. We are live in the WING studios here in Kettering. 518-1410, talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, the AFC Championship game this Sunday at 3 o'clock. We'll talk about the NFC Championship game coming up. Curious Keith Byers' thoughts on, Sean Payton resigning and stepping away from his duties, obviously, with the Saints. Tom Brady, could he call it a career? Could Aaron Rodgers end up in Denver? A lot of NFL stuff still coming your way as we head into hour number 3. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Game time, you know what that means. Burgers, dogs, your favorite ice-cold beverage, and football. Hi, this is Kirby with Audio Etc. And if you're going to invite the gang over, you can't do it on that old-fashioned high-def TV. What you need to do is come by Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see the latest in 4K picture, 4 times the resolution of high definition, and experience it in 11.2 Dolby Atmos surround sound. Until you do that, you're just watching some big guys run around the field with numbers on it. See, hear, and feel what you've been missing. Installation available. 1 year, same as cash to QBs, not quarterbacks, qualified buyers, Audio Etc. Dayton's finest audio and video. And remember, all 4K TVs and projectors from Audio Etc. are gluten-free. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Dutch Boy Platinum Plus. It's only paint. It's only paint that comes in an award-winning twist and pour container. It's only paint that will transform your den with just 1 coat of salted lavender into a writer sanctuary. It's only paint that will help you become TV's hottest writer, where you'll meet this guy.
Hey.
Who starred in That Thing.
Now that's a twist I didn't see coming.
So yeah, it's only paint. Only easy opening, smooth pouring, change your life both professionally and romantically paint. Dutch Boy. Only at Menards.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 28. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low near 5. And tomorrow will be clear, sunny, and cold, a high near 23. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Propane, keeping utilities simple and families warm since 1952. See how and more at culletpropane.com.
Millions of people use Zoom Phone, the innovative and feature-rich cloud phone system for businesses of any size. Zoom Phone is simple to use, whether you're on a mobile device, desktop, laptop, or desk phone. And because every call is important to your business, Zoom Phone was built with reliability in mind, using geographic redundancy to keep your communications online. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Visit zoom.com/phone system. Zoom, how the world connects.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The Big Hoopla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year and will hit a milestone 100,000 tickets donated to airmen, their families, and students when combined with Hometown Heroes events in those 10 years. This furthers our region's commitment to supporting our military during the 75th anniversary year of the Air Force. The 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16 at UD Arena. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This is Matt Crowder live at the Shell station on 41st Street, reporting on the free gas app called Get Upside that's letting people all over the country earn cash back on every gallon of gas they buy. Excuse me, miss. Have you heard of the Get Upside gas app?
Of course. People are earning as much as $300 a year with the Get Upside app. It's so easy. Open the app to see nearby gas stations offering money back, pick the one you want, and get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside gas app and earn up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder, Radio News Network. Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to earn up to 25 cents a gallon cash back when you buy gas. Use promo code TODAY for a 50 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 75 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Get up to 75 cents a gallon cash back on your next fill up when you download the free Get Upside app and use promo code TODAY. Promo code TODAY.
Do you need to hire? Then you need Indeed. Indeed has 135 assessments to help you find the right candidates fast. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
Justin Kinner, Mark Schlemmer. That's right, Mark Schlemmer back in the WING studios here this afternoon. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers also hanging out. I mean, it's like a Sunday morning reunion here on a Friday evening. That's the only time all three of us ever did a show together, was really just on those Sunday mornings.
It seemed like Friday yesterday.
What's that?
It seemed like Friday yesterday to me. Of course, when you get old, every day seems different. But
we needed this snow in December. We didn't get a white Christmas this year, but we're getting a white January.
Hey,
no golfing for you.
No golf for me.
When's the last time you did golf?
December 1st and 2nd in Phoenix, Arizona.
I saw those pictures.
There's worse.
So I played them. Well, yeah.
How early?
I was wanting to play it all 12 months this year, but that's not going to happen unless I get around in before Monday.
So I just signed up. I'm officially registered for the watch stream for Millions, for the watch party with Keith Byers at Millions, again, for the Chiefs and the Bills. If you head to Keith Byers' Twitter page at KAB41 and sign up on the link, you'll be able to register for the free watch party with former NFL player Keith Byers, again, for the Chiefs and the Bengals. You'll be able to send in your questions, interact with Keith live during the Bengals and the Chiefs game at 3:00 on Sunday. Again, this watch party brought to you by Millions. You can register at the link that Keith has on his Twitter page. I also retweeted it. I just went ahead and registered now. It says that our watch stream starts in 1 day, 21 hours, and 43 minutes. We are getting closer to that AFC Championship game right there. And, you guys were talking about the Baseball Hall of Fame during the commercial break, and we're going to transition to that in a moment. I want to take any final calls regarding the Bengals, the AFC Championship game. Well, I'll give our predictions on that coming up here around the corner as well. But I do want to get back to the phones real quick. And, of course, my ADD, I don't even remember who the heck the caller's name was. So I'm just going to go to caller. I didn't even write your name down, sir. I apologize. How are you?
I'm good. My name is Doug. I'm from
Doug. There we go.
I know, like you said, that you was going to, segue over to, the New Orleans coach.
Oh,
that left.
Yes. Uh-huh.
How is that going to be handled? If they're really $70 million over the cap, one, should he be given a job go to another team because he's basically screwed the Saints?
Yeah, but was it him that screwed him, or was it the GM?
I don't know. Is it the GM, but I would imagine he had, pretty good say-so in terms of who's playing or who he wants. He's been there 15 years.
Well, Doug, I don't think he can go anywhere. Keith, you might know this better than me. I don't think he can go anywhere for 3 years. Isn't he still under contract or property of the Saints?
If the Cowboys wanted, they could pay out his contract or however. Like you could
Peyton. I think he's still under.
He is for
under their control
for 2 more years, I believe, under contract.
Well, yeah, but it can be bought out, like Justin said. They can make it happen.
Be bought out.
The Saints be like, depends on who they negotiate with. They may ask for a drop pick.
But if you're the Saints, how do you sign anybody? Do you put all the players basically in the auction?
Well, hold up, Doug. The thing is, too, you said about the $70 million under the caps, like their cap space is brutal. They're rebuilding. You don't have a quarterback. If I'm the Saints, I either draft that Pickett kid out of Pitt, and then I trade Kamara, I trade Michael Thomas, and that's where half your cap space is put into anyways. They're rebuilding, and I think their cap space looks bad right now because they went all in because they had Drew Brees at the time, and they felt like their window was closing up. They had to pay Kamara. They had to pay Thomas. That never worked out, obviously, with his injury. I think that those guys could be as good as gone. I think that they're going to trade them, get draft picks back, and start a rebuild, and that's why Sean Payton, he wasn't going to stick around for a rebuild. He went to go see a rebuild end. So,
I understand that. But if they're so far over the cap, do they have money to sign anybody like the draft picks that they're going to have? Will they be able to sign them because they're already over the cap? How are they going to sign anybody else?
Well, they're going to have to dump a lot of salary right now, which Justin's right. You'll see a lot of guys getting traded, released, whatever. They're not going to win this year. So if it's a rebuild, Michael Thomas could bring you back a lot of picks. Peyton, I look for him to go to New York, if anywhere.
I see, these coaches, when your coach had success that Sean Payton has had and a few other coaches.
Doug, thank you.
It's hard to start over again.
Oh,
and
after
rebuild.
15 years?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking back to my playing days when Parcells retired from the Giants, and he was out for a few years. Then he decided to come back with the Patriots, and then he, left them and went to the Jets. And the Jets were coming off a 1-15 season. When Parcells took over the Jets. Next year they go from 1-15 to 7-9, and then I come in the next year we go 12-4, and I can still hear Parcells saying, "I'm too old to lose. I can't." And so when he brought me in, he said, "It's easy to win to improve a 1-15 team to a 7-9. It's harder to go from 7-9 to 10-6 to take another step to be a playoff team. That's where I need you to come in and help.
Bridge that gap.
Bridge that gap for these young guys and teach them how to win. Because at this point in my career, I'm too old to lose also. I'm used to, I left, my last 3 years in the National Football League, I was, I went to a Super Bowl, but I was division champ. I've been in the playoffs. So I'm used to winning divisions and being in the playoffs. I'm too old, 35 years old.
1-15, would that have retired you sooner?
Oh, yes. When my rookie year, I went 5-10-1, and that put a lot of ages on me. I was like, 10 losses in one season? Wow, I can't do this. I'm too young. I'm too young for this kind of disappointment. So you want to surround yourself, and you change that mentality. You got to get around winners, and that was, the worst season of my career. And I played 13 years, and I did not. I know how bad that felt, being 5-10-1. I didn't want to feel it again, and I refused to be a part of anything like that again. And if you put the work in during all season, it would pay off during the season with like-minded individuals. And so you kind of help the organization to run different guys out. We need winners around here. I'm a winner. I'm surrounded by winners. That's like when Joe Burrow came into Cincinnati. I'm used to winning. I won in high school. I was a part of a winning teams at Ohio State. I was part of a national champion at LSU. I'm coming to Cincinnati and I'm gonna start losing. I don't want to be associated with that. You were able to get me because you was a losing organization, but that we're not going to stay losers. Oh no. And here it is, year 2, the Bengals are in the playoffs. That winning gets to be contagious, just like losing be contagious.
As a free agent, it's easier for you to go to Cincinnati now than say a year ago, 2 years ago, because of
no question.
And winning.
Right. Now Cincinnati can be a destination for free agents to come to. Why not? They're building something in Cincinnati. If they keep building, right now, offensively, all they need is linemen. Defensively, still got some gaps. They need corners.
Linebackers.
They need linebackers. But that'll come. They'll be more apt to come. And, I can play corner in Cincinnati, especially with that offense we got. We can play it ahead. I can look a whole lot better.
Be more aggressive. You could take chances. You could jump on some passes that you probably don't do when you have a run-first offense that And
you're going to get a lot of snaps. I don't want that many snaps. I want my offense to have majority of the snaps if I'm a defensive player. And then Joe Burrow has a magnetic personality. Young guys love him, older guys love him, and they want to be around him. That's what you're looking for.
What winning will do.
Defense players love being around him. They always seem to run right towards him. They want to give a big old hug every game.
Yeah, just look at in Ohio, the 2 quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow.
His offensive line, you could at least chuckled. You could at least.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, damn. My goodness.
My headphones aren't in.
Oh, the funny. I'm going to be at the Funny Bone this weekend. Apparently.
I asked you one earlier about Burrow. What is more important to him, the national title game at LSU or the playoff games as a pro?
Well, he went to the mountaintop in college by winning a national championship. So that's more important to him. But now he's a pro. He set new sets of goals.
So this one, pressure-wise, shouldn't even come close? Or?
Oh, yeah, the pressure's on. That wild card game pressure was.
But he's still been there. So it should, as he says, the noise,
No.
Kansas City's a whole lot different.
Right. All playoff games are pressure packed because it's not like the games at 1 o'clock and there's a couple other 1 o'clock games. You're the only game on during the playoffs. There is no overlap. So the eyes of the world are watching you. It's similar to a Super Bowl, only not as big.
Okay, you're a Bengal player. Who are you more worried about having that rookie boneheaded move? Opie Taylor as a coach calling plays or Joe Burrow?
Opie Taylor.
I agree.
No question.
You have this habit of getting guys to say your nicknames without even thinking about it.
That's what he is.
Opie.
He's a favorite one.
That's what it is. Remember, Cincinnati just now won their first game in Opie Taylor. Opie Taylor. What is his first name? Zach Taylor?
Yep.
Opie Cunningham.
Opie.
When they beat Kansas City during the regular, that was the first time coming back in the fourth quarter, winning the game. Because when Cincinnati's losing through 3 quarters, they lose the game. They changed that against Kansas City a few weeks ago. So his record is still, 1-25 or 1-24? If it comes down to a coaching decision in the fourth quarter, do you trust
I worry about the first quarter. That field goal, do I go for the touchdown?
Well, at any point,
I want points.
But you heard what Joe Burrow said throughout the week. I made it my headphones out. I made a couple of those calls myself.
I laughed at that going, you play with guys that called the whole damn game. It's 3 plays. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But he still shouldn't have said it. That was a youngster. Don't say that. Just continue.
Yeah, that doesn't make your coach look real good.
Yeah. I mean, but he didn't understand the big. That's just youth shining.
Are they too stupid to know what they're doing, and that helps them?
Who's that? You talking about the coaches?
No,
or
the players. I mean, I don't know if they really realize what they're doing yet.
They don't. They don't. I mean, that's what youthful thing is.
Youthful ignorance.
Youthful ignorance. Yes. I mean, I always go back to my default, Dan Marino. How many AFC Championship games did Dan Marino play in? I think maybe 3 or 4 in his career. But he only got to 1 Super Bowl, that was his second year.
Second year?
Yeah, and you would have told him he was only going to 1 Super Bowl. He would have never believed it. I would have never believed it.
How many years did it take you to get to it?
11.
Yeah.
11.
And you start
so you don't take this for granted.
That's what I got ripped the other day by Bengals fans because I said something similar where a year ago at this time when Cleveland made the playoffs, they won at Pittsburgh, and everyone's like, man, Cleveland, they have $50 million in cap space, and look how good they were this year. They're only going to be better next year. Well, here they are sitting at home because you can't account for injuries. Backwards. You can't account for, guys getting, lackadaisical. Like, for instance, look how hard Cincinnati had to work to get to this point. How many of these young players are going to approach this offseason and work as hard as last year because, that was easy. Well, it was easy because of the work you put in the offseason, as you know. Will you approach it the same? I believe they will. There's nothing about this team I feel that won't be the case, but Cleveland said the same thing. Every year, what was the average? I think they said for 20 straight years now in the playoffs, Keith, 8 teams that made the playoffs this season always miss it the next season. It's always fresh new teams.
Yeah, it was something like 75%, wasn't it? Something like that. It was a big number.
Every year, teams that make the playoffs, there's 8 teams that made it this year.
That's the way the league's built.
Could it be you don't know. You're not promised to be back next year because those same 8 teams every year, we're in the playoffs. We'll be back next year. No, you won't. No, you don't know. I should say.
Like you said, Justin, what a difference a year makes. Mm-hmm. A year ago, Joe Burrows was rehabbing a knee injury, hoping he would show some promise that we saw in those first 10 games. Since Cleveland Browns are riding high, just lost, the divisional round to the Kansas City Chiefs. And man, if we'd have played that the first half, like we did the second half, we'd have played 4 quarters. How close we were. We could have been going to the Super Bowl.
And one injury can change a whole season.
Yes.
So that's why, when I said that earlier in the week, but you got to enjoy this now because I kept hearing too many fans say, man, think about how good we're going to be next year. I'm like, you have a chance now. You've already beat the team that you're playing in the AFC title game. You already have a quarterback that's playing at an MVP-like level. I don't care if Jamar Chase is a rookie. I don't care if you think you're ahead of schedule. No one's ahead of schedule in the NFL. You are where you are because you can't account for where you think you're going to be a year from now. That's what's scary. So, this could be the best team that he's played on, or this could be the worst team he's played on.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong by much. Wasn't it 4 years ago that Jacksonville Jaguars had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game and lost?
Me and you were doing the flying to the hoop game, following on your phone, and they were kicking the Steelers' ass. They had a lead over Pittsburgh heading into the fourth quarter.
No, they're the Patriots.
New England. I'm sorry. They destroyed Pittsburgh.
Right.
Went on to play Tom Brady and the Patriots, and they were a quarter away from getting to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had a lead in the fourth quarter by 10 with 10 minutes to go in the game.
They were 3-13 the year before. They get Leonard Fournette, and the rest was history.
And that seems like a distant memory. Was it 4 years or 5 years? It wasn't that far away. Yeah, where's Jacksonville today? So I'm not trying to put a wet blanket on Cincinnati's dreams. I'm just telling you, enjoy the moment, and you want more moments like this going forward. But it starts with one. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see the video today that the Bengals released in there.
Not the old veterans dancing.
With the Icky Woods. That's been a long time.
Like the Bears Shuffle.
That's 37 years ago. Wow. But you have to enjoy the moment.
518-1410, 518-1410. Yes, if you're listening and you think that sounds like Mark Schlemmer, it is. It is Mark Schlemmer. And by the way, Keith, I do want to call him out because the last year he was on the radio,
thanks a lot.
He dismissed the Bengals. He said he was no longer a fan. Look at him repping that.
Hey, when it's cold weather, you go with what's warm, man.
Yeah, I think that's what they call you, cold weather fans. I think that's what they call you. I think that's what they call you. So I'm just throwing that out there.
You're back now. How long are you back with the Bengals?
I'll let you know after Sunday.
Holy moly. Hey.
how's Marino got all these records and no receiver in the Hall of Fame? Somebody was catching them, and it wasn't like he signed new guys every year.
I mean, he's the last quarterback to go into the Hall of Fame in the last 40-plus years that didn't have a receiver go in with him, shortly thereafter.
Brady will be close.
Yeah, I mean, who just had the movie? What's the quarterback?
Warner.
Yeah, but he's already got a receiver. Didn't Isaac Bruce just get a
Holt, Bruce, both.
Right, and then
Marshall Faulk and
then he's not eligible yet. There's only wide receiver.
Fitzgerald. Yeah.
He's going in. So he will have one, accompanying him, very soon. But Dan Marino, I guess he caught all those passes himself.
Yeah, he threw them and caught them.
So
is the backup quarterback the least appreciated guy? Because if your quarterback goes down, you're done. Why don't they pay backup quarterback? I know salary cap and all that, but you lose a quarterback and you're Brandon Allen. You're Mason Rudolph.
It's right. Who they? Mr. Trubisky is the backup quarterback in Buffalo.
Ooh,
Mason Rudolph is in Pittsburgh. You're right. It's an underappreciated.
They go grab a guy off a couch.
Because I think the league is much younger, and dumber. Whereas you had that veteran quarterback. Marino was a young quarterback. Who was his backup? Don Strock, who was a seasoned veteran who mentored Dan, who helped Dan every day in practice, every game during the season. He's Dan's eyes. Hey, man, this backside corners open, backside post is open in these different coverages. That helped a veteran out. Now we got veteran quarterbacks, or even our young quarterbacks, with younger, help, behind him.
What's Roethlisberger
and the veteran quarterbacks aren't very good.
Roethlisberger going to look at or whatever the hell his name is, Mason Rudolph, and go, hey, what do you see?
Please,
I mean, come on.
You're not listening to him.
That's why guys like Andy Dalton, that's a perfect backup quarter. The problem is the backup quarterbacks that should be backups in the league, they don't view themselves as that. You got to tell good backup caliber quarterbacks to be backups. Andy Dalton still thinks he could be a starter. You know what I mean? So that's
holding the clipboard for that kind of jack ain't all bad.
But you know what I mean? Like Andy Dalton.
They should have some value. I mean, look at the Giants when they won the Super Bowl in 1990. Phil Simms goes down, but Hostetler was always prepared, and he was a capable backup. If Burrows goes down, who's the Bengals backup quarterback? Brandon Allen. He started some in this league, but are we confident in him? Who's Kansas City's backup quarterback?
Chad
Henne, really?
He beat the Browns last year.
I was going to say, I know
damn well Michigan quarterback, please. They're in trouble. I don't know who's the Rams' backup quarterback.
Case Keenum was probably the best backup in the league, and they never played him.
Because maybe he wasn't the best backup in the league. Just saying.
They just seem like they're underpaid.
Yeah, but no, they're overpaid for mine because they're not very good.
But if you got to go get somebody,
so Andy Dalton making $5 million a year.
That's well overpaid.
Mm-hmm. That's brutal.
I take Andy Dalton.
You got a young quarterback like Kyler Murray. I don't even know who his backup is.
Like I said, Colt McCoy.
Like I said, I don't know who his backup is.
He won 3 games this year.
518-1410. We'll be back in just a moment. Keith Byers, Mark Schlemmer, Justin Kinner. Happy Friday. We're talking more NFL playoffs next.
Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. 2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's FURST, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Kid Rock Bad Reputation Tour. August 17th, Riverbend Music Center. The American Badass, Kid Rock. With Foreigner. And a special appearance by Trey Lewis. On sale now. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Kid Rock.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosis and colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com, or call 1-800-633-9110.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
It's football season again, which means it's football season again. And here at Frank's Red Hot, we put together a completely exhaustive list of essentials that will bring everyone together on game day. Essential number 1, Frank's Red Hot. I mean, come on, people. That was a given. Number 2, wings. Like, just so many wings. Okay, it looks like that's it. There's not even a third thing on the page. Do I just say the first 2 essentials again, or is that weird? Nope, just Frank's and wings? Okay, that's okay. Yeah. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Do you need to hire? Then you need Indeed. Indeed has 135 assessments to help you find the right candidates fast. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Well, Mark Schlemmer, in the midst of all the NFL playoff talk, which we will get back to close out the show, we do have College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers with us here as well. Former NFL 13-year vet, Pro Bowl running back as well. Played for the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Jets, and why am I missing the Patriots? Did I say that already?
Eagles.
The Eagles.
Or number one.
Oh, that's why I didn't say that. Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly away. How about that? But no, joking. But we welcome you back. College basketball tonight. Schlemmer, the Dayton Flyers, are at home at 7 o'clock. They tip off here in about an hour and 15 minutes. They got Rhode Island in town. It's a whiteout, apparently. But they're a 6.5 point favorite over Rhode Island. This team, I can't figure this team out. They lose to these god-awful teams to tip off the season, and then they win big and get some big wins, obviously, against Miami, against Kansas. They beat Belmont, and then we thought that they had righted the ship. We thought that they were kind of back on track, and then they look really good some games, really bad others. I know it's as simple as they're a young team. You're going to get that, but is it as simple as that? I mean, they're too talented sometimes to keep using the youth excuse.
I don't use the youth excuse, and Keith may agree or not. 20 games in, you're not a freshman anymore. You played Kansas. You played Miami. You've been on the road. You've been to tournaments. You're playing AAU ball, probably. You're not a freshman. And a lot of these guys aren't freshmen. They're, because of the COVID, whatever, you're a freshman technically, but they played at Georgia. They played at Southern Cal. They played here and there. Yeah, you're going to be up and down, but their turnovers are bad turnovers, like non-forced errors. They're a tough team to figure, but like the Bengals, like Kansas City, they hit that bad spot where you lose to teams you shouldn't. Maybe they get hot down the stretch. 13-7, you better start winning.
Now they have guys like Kamara, obviously, Deron Holmes, the Malachi Smiths of the world. They had Amzo come back from last year. And by the way, you're right. I'm glad you pointed it out that people keep talking about, man, they have all these freshmen and all this. They have a lot of freshmen on paper technically because they got to keep their freshman status from last year because COVID, they allowed everyone to keep they didn't lose a year of eligibility. So technically the roster shows all these freshmen, but they have a decent amount of experience.
The two kids off the bench.
Yeah. And that closes the gap. And then the super talented freshmen like Deron Holmes and those guys, they're so talented that closes the gap between the excuses of, they're bottom line, they're very good. They're 13-7. They're third in the A10 right now. I mean, they have a chance to win this conference or what have you. It's all going to come down to that 1 week in March. But yeah, I don't like the youth excuse because you know how many how many young teams there are in college basketball that perform at much higher levels.
Not a lot of seniors playing anymore.
How many diaper dandies and how many freshmen does Duke? Yeah, I should say, my fault. But how many teams like Duke and Kentucky and others over the years, they made a living off of having the youngest teams in college basketball with all these true freshmen and being the best teams in the country. I just think it's an excuse. I think it's okay to sometimes be critical and say, Anthony Grant, come on, let's go. Like, what's going on
But
here?
I wouldn't call it an excuse. It's just a fact. I mean, the young guys are still young, and they're playing more basketball because the AAU basketball wasn't against guys 2 and 3 years older. That was against their age group. Mm-hmm. Now they're in college, and they're playing against some second and third and fourth year guys who played together. They're more into their mature body, not their teenage bodies. And the youth, you're going to have some nights they look awesome. Other nights, they're down. And
that's been Anthony Grant's team since he got here.
Yeah, but I'm saying those are the growing pains that you have to take when you have a young team. Dayton doesn't have to make a living of having one and done guys. The guys at Dayton usually play 3 to 4 years. So you have to be patient, and this is part of, how does patience come? By waiting. So you simply have to wait. You can't rush the process. Even though you would like, even in the teams that you mentioned, the Kentuckys and the Dukes.
And they're not those teams.
They're not those teams. And those teams, how often do they win it with freshman-driven teams? The teams that usually win NCAA tournaments have a good mixture of young and old guys.
So the deal with Obi indirectly is probably giving the fan base more of an expectation than they should have.
I would agree.
I said that year actually, and I said this, I remember coming out of that 20 season, that season was going to do more harm than anything based on the perception of the fan base. And here was why. That was usually you get your Cinderella run in the NCAA tournament. Dayton had their Cinderella run in the regular season.
And it would have probably come in the tournament. It would have
come tournament time. But I will say the reason I never buy into that at times is because every year we talk about who the best team is heading into the NCAA tournament, and every year that team loses. The best team never wins. So that's why everyone's like, we would have won a national title that year. No, you wouldn't, because every team that people think is going to win a national championship in college basketball, they don't win it because the best team never wins the NCAA tournament. But to your point, yes, that would have been complemented by a tournament run of some kind. They would have played into a Sweet 16, Elite 8 possibly, maybe won the whole thing. You don't know. But history tells us the number one seeds that they would have been, they don't win the NCAA tournament. So that's why I'm like, I don't buy into that. The old man that robbed us of a chance to win a national title. History tells us one seeds don't win the national.
I think it helped them recruiting-wise, obviously getting on that national stage. But now the fans are going, hey, wait a minute. What happened? Why can't we do it again and again and again?
Now, you got on Archie Miller when he left because he left the cupboard bare, as you always say. And you said that's a horrible job by a coach as far as managing the class ranked. Okay, but how does Anthony Grant let the roster get to this point? How does Anthony Grant let a roster where your entire roster leaves and you just have nothing but freshmen come in? That's also on the coaching staff, not having that tiered system.
Again, the NIL, I think, has got a lot to do with the transfer portal. Now a coach,
this roster was set before the NIL.
But you tried to balance freshman, sophomore, junior. You didn't want to have an odd year in there where all of a sudden you're going, oh, my God, I don't have a senior or junior. Now you almost don't have a choice because the kids can go, see you later. Now you're scrounging and looking. So it's almost, for lack of a better way to look at it, it's almost one and done every year.
I'm to a degree because you have to re-recruit your guys.
Every
even
year.
after they sign, you got to re-recruit them, which is not a bad thing.
And then it's NIL. Okay, the big kid Holmes is getting a little money now. Once Kamara, and we found out they can't because he's a foreign player. But when did some of the other guys go, hey, wait a minute, I want mine?
This is news to me.
Foreign players can't, and I said that aggressive.
They can't sign NIL.
Players, non-American players cannot sign NIL deals.
Now, what's a non-American player? Do you have to get an American citizenship to become an American, then you can get it? Or you have to live here a year?
We can't tell who we got this from, but it's a client that is dabbling in that. So I can't get into it too much, but they said, that there were some players they were looking at that they wanted to get some NIL stuff done with, and then said that they were told that you can't because, some of these players aren't American players. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, that will be challenged eventually. I'm sure at some point that will not be the case, but I do think that's it. I'm sure there's a reason, but did think
but you look at the years when the NBA was drafting those foreign guys, we didn't even know about. Were they getting paid over in Europe? Probably so.
I mean, I remember hearing Jim Brown with Wright State share the story about how, they were targeting Dirk Nowitzki. There's a chance, that Wright State could have had a Dirk Nowitzki. Remember Big Zadrunas Ilgauskas? They were using their connections through that time when they would always go overseas for the week or a month or whatever they would do. But yeah, they had Vitaly Potapenko.
He's going over there for showcases.
Yeah,
right.
And that they were in talks
with. They were shopping
with Big Z. They were in talks with Big Z. They were in talks with Dirk Nowitzki, and obviously, Vitaly ends up going to the NBA and everything. As Big Z got hurt.
Doncic.
So, what's that?
Doncic, for the Cavs. I mean, for the
Mavericks. Basically, yeah. So he wouldn't have got NIL money if he was in college. But,
right.
You want to get paid, go to the NBA, I guess. Don't go to college. So,
I know college football is getting their share too.
But before back to the NFL, Wright State, they're in action tonight. They got a blackout at the Nutter Center. They do have black jerseys. You said they don't have black in their school color, but they have black jerseys.
ESPN, man, giving Dayton.
Even does Ohio State.
Yeah.
Scarlet and gray, but they wear black.
Yeah.
ESPN2, ESPNU, the city of Dayton.
Yep, ESPN2, the Dayton game at 7, ESPNU at 9 o'clock.
Everybody wears black. That's
UD did it.
Yep.
But by the way, I don't know why I hate this so much, but I like the traditional. The home team wears the white jerseys. The away team wears the darker jerseys. For instance, a little
marketing now.
I hate when I tune into a Lakers-Celtics game and the Celtics are at the Staples Center wearing their white jerseys, and then the Lakers are wearing their purple jerseys at the Staples Center or whatever the hell they call it now. I hate it. I can't stand that. Just wear your traditional home and aways.
You know what else I hate? I hate that too, but you know what I hate more? The shoes.
The green
Wear
shoes.
your team color shoes.
Yep.
They're out there with yellow and red and just the colors of the rainbow. I'm like, too much. much wear your colors of your uniform.
You don't like attention seeking at the guy that did the
I mean,
snow
Embiid
angel
last
against
night
my
had
Dallas Cowboys. The guy that did the snow angel against my Dallas Cowboys. He doesn't want people looking at the athletes. Huh?
There's always room for snow angels in the NFL, especially in Dallas, by the visiting team.
When did you figure out about the 30-yard line you were going to do that?
The morning of. I said, I scored a touchdown today. I'm doing a snow angel because I walked out the hotel and it was all that snow. I'm like, I scored a touchdown.
It's 75 yards later.
So it's premeditated then.
77, Mark. Give me
So
the
you
last
weren't out of
two.
gas and just fell down there.
No, I was not. That was premeditated. It was premeditated.
Hey, that one in the shoe is probably the two people, the one they remember the most.
Yeah, probably. Well, my pro career is the snow angel and the hit on my brother, good friend Pepper Johnson.
Man, I still see that.
Those two plays in
How
this.
about the Frog Bowl?
Shoe.
I forgot about
The
that.
Fog Bowl, yes. Yeah. And two Daytonians played in the Fog Bowl. How about that? Myself and Maurice
I was
Douglas.
going to say Maurice Douglas would have been the other one.
Yeah, Maurice Douglas. He played in the Fog Bowl. He got the game clinching interception.
Oh, hold up. Time out. Willie from Dayton. Remember old Willie?
Oh, absolutely.
He says, salute Schlemmer, hooday. And then he goes on to say, finally, a voice of reason on the show. I ain't going to let that slide with Willie.
You're talking about Keith.
Willie used to be a Washington football fan.
I was going to say he was a Washington fan.
And now he has the nerve to be, and he comes at me all the time with this, he's pro Bengals and they're mad at me for my anti-Bengals. I'm like, stick to a team, would you, Willie? What's wrong with
one team per customer?
Willie, call in. I challenge Willie to call in. I challenge him to call in. What's this? Dude calling me? Oh, voice.
The guy that's a Cowboy fan.
He's a garnet and gold guy in Washington, and now he's jumping ship to the orange, to the stripes. He got stripes on him now.
You did a topic on your show earlier in the week about bandwagon fans. I'm curious from you, you as a former pro athlete, did you know? I mean, obviously you didn't experience a lot of losing, but obviously fans kind of gravitate away when you're not winning, and then they all come screaming back. Got a good kick out of that. That all these Bengals fans are the team that had the blackout rule because they couldn't get enough people to come watch their team. This year they're having trouble filling up the stadium or what have you. They're all about the bandwagon fans.
Yeah, I mean, I played in good fan bases, so I didn't have to worry about the bandwagon, especially being in Philadelphia. Those are diehard fans. You play good, they're there to cheer you. You play bad, they're there to boo you. But they're there no matter what. And so you got to love it. But the bandwagon stuff, I never take those people serious. I'm like, guys, you got to have your heart broken a few times by your favorite team. You just can't be on them when they're good. So the Bengals are picking up a lot of bandwagon. I'm friends with Eric Metcalf, the ex-Cleveland Brown. And Eric tweeted the other day.
He was good.
He said, his father's awesome. He said, I have yet to meet a Cincinnati Bengal fan outside of Ohio. I'm in that course. I travel around. I never run into anybody, whether I'm in Florida or any place. I mean, who's your favorite team? Bengals. We're not even in Ohio. And that's so.
Well,
and I asked one of my buddies in
years.
Tampa today, a couple of days ago, I said, you're in Tampa, you get on travel, you met any Bengal fans? No. So if anybody outside of Ohio saying they're Bengal fans, they're bandwagon.
And I don't get what's wrong with that because Bengals fans are the biggest crybabies in the world. No one talks about our team.
Fans are fans.
No one likes our team. No one this. So then when fans finally start gravitating towards the Bengals, then their fan base, you should see the Bengals fans on his page. No, get away. You're a bandwagon fan. We don't want you. I'm like, well, then remember that when no one talks about you. Remember that when no one goes to your games. Remember that when your organization gets laughed at because you don't have a good fan base. That's what
just
cracks
ask
me up
them
about
next time you're out of town on Bingo Sunday, they're playing games, find a bingo bar in that town.
Find one in Dayton.
Where's the one in Dayton? How many do we have in Dayton?
Now because
by the way, there's a big Bills. There's a Bills backer group here that's hundreds. They have hundreds of
Steelers.
There's Steelers. There's the Browns backers here. Where's the Bengals? Where's the
they're
Bengals
infancy.
backers?
This time next year they'll be all over.
And I don't mean the random.
It has to start somewhere.
I don't care about the random husband and wife sitting at Frickers who just bought their jerseys last week. I mean, seriously, where do all the Bengals fans gather? By the way, Paul Brown Stadium, they couldn't even organize a watch party. They said it would take too much time to figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, that they're still bad organization. I'm telling you.
With the bandwagon, the people go, oh my God, they're wearing Jim LeClaire jerseys. They're wearing Chris Perry. You go to games, do you see any Keith Byers jerseys in New England or Philadelphia and go, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, you see some in Philly.
But people get mad about that. It's like, that to me is heritage, man.
Yeah.
What are you getting mad for?
Real quick, I want to interrupt. This is the face of bandwagon fans. He's the biggest bandwagon fan in the history of bandwagon fans. Willie! That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback.
Don't you be crying, Willie, since I'm back.
My quarterback.
That's my quarterback. And I feel it's an honor and a privilege for me to be on with Keith Fires, Days on Keith Fires, the Ross legend, Ohio State, Philadelphia Eagles, which I hate. They stink anyway. But anyway, moving on. But Mark Schlemmer. So I love you guys, man, and I thank you for taking my call. And I just you guys.
You're gonna cry, Willie.
Are you gonna cry?
You got.
It's my radio host.
I'm no bandwagon. You're the bandwagon. You're the guy with 2 losing teams.
No, the Browns are my side chick. There's a difference.
Damn, I think I do better than that.
I mean, it's, a couple beers on the low self-esteem night, but they're my side chick. They're the Browns. They are what they are.
You gotta quit drinking Goble, man.
Hey, but the last few days has been some great radio. I heard a caller call in a day and talked about how the callers should be celebrating what's going on with the Bengals, opposed to complaining about what mainstream media is saying about the Bengals right now and their chances against the Kansas City Chiefs.
That wasn't a caller. That was me, Willie. That was the whole point of my show yesterday. Just to be clear, I need credit. I need credit for one of the few days I was defending the Cincinnati Bengals. It's for my street cred out in the Bengals community.
I hope this ain't cap, but But I hope this is an omen for you that you had Schlemmer on the show today to get everything straight. So I'm rolling with the Bengals all the way this weekend.
Since when? What happened to your Washington football days?
I'm a diehard Redskins fan. The Redskins don't exist no more, if I can even say that on the radio. I know I've said it much worse on the radio, but it is what it is. But I'm a diehard Redskins fan, and the Redskins don't exist. So
that's why you switched teams. That's why you picked the Bengals.
I didn't switch. I didn't have a say in the Redskins not existed.
But you switched. They still have a team.
No, I don't have a team. I said I've been a closet Bengal fan all year. That's what I've been calling in and saying all year on this show, just to spite you. You're the one who triggered this in me.
Whoa. You turned on me. Since when did Willie dislike Kidder? I thought we were good.
No, we are good. That's why I don't post. That's why I don't bother you on your personal page.
You're allowed to bother me, Willie, as long as just stop being a Bengals fan.
I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you.
Yeah.
I'd rather do this. I'd rather have our disagreements publicly.
Fair enough. Willie, we're out of time, unfortunately. Give us your prediction for your team this weekend.
I got the Bengals going to the Super Bowl, and I hope it's against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's say Bengals. I hope the defense do something and change their game plan. Bengals 27-23.
27-23, Willie says his prediction.
38-33 Bengals.
So I'll even hit the Bengals feel-good music as we wrap the show up today. But your prediction, Schlemmer?
38-33 Bengals.
38-33 Bengals. And see, that's a realistic – it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be in the 30s. I'll be very – is there any chance –
10-3 at halftime.
Is there any chance this is finishing under 30?
Always a chance, but I don't see it.
First team to 30 wins.
First team to 30. He said 38-33.
First team to 30 wins.
Now, you'll be doing this watch party sponsored by Millions. This is coming up Sunday, Keith. Kickoff at 3 o'clock. But just curious, who's winning this game? Who are you picking?
First team to 30. Whoever gets 31st.
He doesn't do the picks. He doesn't do the picks.
But hopefully, I want Cincinnati to get to 31st. So, first team to 30.
State guys
if it ends up taking 40 points, at least they got to 31st. They didn't play catch-up.
So, I'm going to wait to get my pick. So this Sunday morning, live at Frickers for the Sunday morning tailgate show. Frickers in Miamisburg on 741 by the Dayton Mall. Now, we got Schlemmer out on a Friday. What are the chances we get Schlemmer back out on a Sunday morning?
It'll take me 3 weeks to recover from this.
I was going to say, well, we'll just check in on you Sunday. We'll see.
They'll call me twice before we ever went on the air.
I don't think it was a good call to see how you're doing. I think
they want to say, hey, you want to come over for dinner?
Holy moly. Dayton, a 6.5-point favorite tonight at home against Rhode Island. Schlem, who takes that one?
I'm going with UD, and I went with Wright State, too. I'm going to jinx them both.
Wright State, a 2-point favorite against Cleveland State. That's a big one. Again, it's a battle for two of the top three teams in the Horizon League, and that's a big one at the Nutter Center tonight. Again, this always seems to happen, two big games. You could tell now it's basketball season, even though we're still wrapping up, big AFC, NFC Championship weekend and what have you. But pretty jacked for this weekend's playoff games. But tonight, college basketball, definitely the city does.
Hey, let us know. Come out Sunday to see you guys at Frickers. Get home, watch a ball game. Tune in, Keith, on his podcast.
Watch the game live with me on Wednesday, Sunday at 3:00.
Yep, the link is out. And that wraps it up for us, Schlemmer. It will not be 2 years between now and when you're back on with us again. I promise you that.
I hope not.
So, I don't know. That's your.
God.
There's no better way.
Make it 3 hours.
That's how we ended. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Cincinnati Bengals, that's the team we're gonna cheer to victory. Touchdown Bengals, get some points up on that board and win a game for Cincinnati.